Yes, good people. Welcome back to Chelsea Perspective. Welcome back to another Blue Morning Show, specifically Transfer Show, where we embark on the keeper style exercise. If you like, if you can call it the tier list exercise. We'll have some news items that we will cover, and then we'll go into the tier list exercise. More importantly, I hope you're all doing well. Sit back, relax, and let's get into the show. People, welcome back to our Chelsea Perspective. Welcome back to another transfer show slash a tier list exercise. And I hope you're all doing well. More importantly, as usual, I'm going to see who have in the chat already, and say hello to them before we move on. Let's start with the first person here. And before I do that, I want to say hello to my bro, Liam Lane, bro and friend, great friend. Albeit we haven't met in person, but I like him so much. I respect him a lot. I hope you're doing well. Just know that I haven't forgotten about you. And when time allows, I will reach out to you. And the first person here is Brianni Rahayu, aka 343 Dynamo, aka Contender FC, Vivel, CLC, and all of that. But big up to you, more importantly, brother. It just looks like you've gotten better. You told us you had, I think, a fever or so. I don't want to mix it up, but glad to see that you're feeling better. Big up to my brother, Debai and Malcolm Jude. Big up World, yep. Big up Charles, big up Pachila, panelists, and everyone else. More importantly, big up to you too, brother. And guys, please keep dropping the likes on the stream and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. The likes do go a long way. And thank you for 15 likes already. That's a good sign. Let's see if we can get it to 200 likes today. We're averaging 100 likes for sure right now, and that's a good sign. It's that time of the year, says Jerry Z. Who stays and who goes? I will stay. Okay, yeah, that's fine to hear. But you still go for the tea break. More importantly, Jerry Z, always nice to see you. I hope you're doing well. And Patrick Koku, Patrick, I hope you're doing well. Thank you for finding the time to joining the show. I appreciate you. Yeah, I've been back for a while. Yeah, just I had to make a little bit of travel then. And back on a little bit of travel. Jersey Coachella Nagelsmann looked down on Chelsea. Many fans were excited for him based on what when he never wanted to, relish the challenge and not get things on a silver plate. Much respect to Bosch. Here's the thing. I think I agree with you, and I'm gonna highlight this comment with regards to the Nagelsmann's agent's behavior because there's a chance he knows nothing with what his agent is saying. But that's you could say you could argue is disrespectful. It's childlike or childish if you prefer. I don't like it. I can't believe such comments are coming from them. It hasn't worked. It hasn't worked. Just move on. Now they sounded like two parties after a breakup. The other one saying, "Look, oh no, I broke up with you. It wasn't you." And the other party saying, "No, you're lying. I was the one that broke up with you because I didn't like you." It's all nonsense. Just like what you see kids doing in high school. But I'm moving from that on. I'll bring that comment back later on. What else do we have? Okay, let's do it. Always impatient, man. But much love to you. I appreciate you. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. It's just 15 likes. We should be doing better than that. A big up to you, my bro. Glenn, I hope you're doing well. And also Lukaku, yeah, we will announce Didier Drogba too. Good assist from him yesterday, but still, that's not enough for me. Lot more to consider before deciding whether to keep him or not. But it's up to the club. But I know majority of the fans do not want him back. Thinking of Liam, hope he's doing great. Thank you for saying that. Glenn. I haven't listened to him in a while, but I hope he's doing well. He's a good guy overall. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, and also please do subscribe if you haven't. Where's Nightbot when I need him? I think he will show up. But because you're a mod now and actually a managing moderator at that, even if you use all caps, he will not show up. But that's by the way, we'll move on from that. Morning, Big EB. I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for finding the show. Time to join the show. There you go. Here's Nightbot above here saying, Nightbot saying morning to Big EB. But we move on to the next one. Big up Coachella. It's been a long. I hope you're okay. I'm fine, and I hope you're okay too. I haven't seen you in a while, and that's the truth. Prince Moaz. Up everyone. I think we keep Lukaku and try get Felix. Okay, that's your suggestion. We'll see what happens. We will have to deliberate every decision we make today. It's not just up to me. Lots those in the chat. You can say um, they have to vote in some cases. Big up, coach. Obviously, Lukaku watched yesterday's show and said, "I need to get my my ass into coach's starting 11." My guy in a Champions League final. That's not easy, actually. Not an easy achievement, and he's been, and you could say he's been good form for them, and he's done quite well for them in the Champions League too. And yeah, but to me, that's not even enough. I don't know how else to present my case with regard to us not going. I don't want the club to bring Lukaku back. I think he will cause problems, and if he comes back and it doesn't work, then it compounds the issues we're having already. But that's by the way. Always nice to see you, my bro. The blue different game. I nearly forgot how to say your name. How I like to say your name, maybe. Let's see. Nightbot is the yeah of this channel. We must accept a Nightbot in our hearts. You must. Here's the thing. It does quite a good job policing the chat. If you're not a moderator and you use all caps, it deletes the message automatically, and if you repeat that again, it times you out. And in some cases, there's if you use more than 3 emojis, it gives you a warning. I think it deletes it immediately. Actually, there was a time I did set it up to say hello to people, and if you have a channel, when it comes in, it will ask people to go subscribe to your channel. But he was just doing it repeatedly, like he would do it for once that person that has a channel says something, some keywords. He will pick it up and still keep repeating it unnecessarily. That game yesterday was a hot mess. I was often pondering how they got this far. To be honest, I think I didn't expect it to be that. It was a Milan derby, and usually you see more feisty behavior than actually players are trying to play to win games and entertain in most cases. Um, but I didn't watch that game with seriousness. Honestly, I was just watching it. You could say haphazardly, not too serious about it. But yeah, I knew it was over after the first leg, so I didn't waste too much of my time in it. But for today's game, I don't want to miss even a second of it, if that makes sense. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. 19 likes. Let's get it a 220 in. Shoot for 100 and 200. Let the target today be 200. And if you're a moderator and in the chat, please keep reminding people to keep dropping the likes on the stream and also do subscribe. Okay. The Wushi's house of the way to that trophy. Yeah, I get it. I get what you did there. Yeah, City will not find it easy. They will not find it easy, but if they defend deep, City will eventually beat them. And I think City will actually overcome Real Madrid today. That's what I think, but we'll see what happens. Anyone talking about Lukaku should be blocked by night, but I think maybe that's what I have to do, really. But unfortunately, Lukaku is the dinosaur in the room, like Roger will say. We move on from that. This is Coachella Howard. I'm good, brother. Always nice to see you. This photo of Poch reminds me of numerous Lenin statues in various the former USSR, or now you can say now the front USSR. The fingers are showing the direction. Wasn't that Stalin, Joseph Stalin? I think that statue is talking about. Bless their hearts, indeed. I join you in that prayer. What else do we have here? Um, yeah, nice one indeed. That's just 16. He likes keeping us entertaining here. Pointing to Roman, wondering what the heck, yeah, happened. And Roman would have loved to have Poch and would have gotten him all the players he wants actually. But I still believe Poch would do well. And uh, I like him as a coach. Hopefully he delivers and not disappoint me. Let's move on. What else do we have, Coach? Did you observe that that Martinez is too slow? He was easily tracked by the defenders. He cannot fit Poch's system. That is based on pace and tracking back and forth. It's a solid argument, but I think if Watch wants him, which means he's taking his time to analyze his approach, how he plays, and feels like he can get the best out of him. But the fact is, I'm not too sure who we really want right now. Rumors are that we're hell bent on getting Osimhen, and some say it is Lautaro Martinez and all that. So it's everywhere, really. So I'm not going to hold my breath and saying we really do want him. So please, if you're watching, keep dropping the likes on the stream and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Yeah, he is asking if we can bring back Giroud. Giroud is one player I love so much. You could say one of the most underrated players in world football, really. But unfortunately, I think at the time, I think he wanted to leave. He wanted to leave because he wanted to be starting regularly and not just a few games here and there, like as the case again was the case under Thomas Tuchel. So yeah, he wanted to leave, but I would have loved us to keep him. Let's say big up to you too, brother. Much love, so much respect for you, bro. And I appreciate it. Whenever you find time to participate in the show, either in the chat or on the panel, so much of it because I know you're a very busy man. If Lukaku wins the Champions League, and when I say win, I mean like get past Real Madrid or Manchester City, which is a feat in itself. Yep, that's the truth. He will buy himself some credit, whether we like it or not. Oh, already some people are actually calling for us to bring him back because he's shown, you could say, he's shown a bit of good form. But we don't know what the club are going to do with him. The rumors are that he comes back, and then they will sit and have a conversation regarding his future. Yes, sure, to sell. Okay. Let's see what else we have here. This says it's Temidayo Oluwaro Kanmi says, "Wow, it's good to be back here." Temidayo, nice to see you, brother. I hope you're doing well. Good afternoon, everyone, and coach. I greet you respectfully. I do the same, my bro. Much respect to you, and thank you for finding the time to join us today. Might become a worth 5 million if he wins the Champions League. We need him to win it. I think that ups the price. That means simply means we'll get a sizable fee from his soul should he win the Champions League, and I hope he wins it. I think maybe that will make it easier for Inter to take him. I think Inter they're actually changing their tone at this point. At first, they were actually shaming him in public, talking about his weight, talking about how he has to go back to Chelsea first. And then the recent comment from the Inter Milan president is that they're not sure what's going to happen, but if it's he was asked on a percentage scale what he thinks will happen, and he says 60% Lukaku coming back to Inter Milan, and it looks like they want him. They've really played us. They played it so well that now even if we decide to sell him, we're not going to get anything close to 50 million for him. It's not 22 anymore. And it's not like, even though he's been in good form for them, you can't say he's been in brilliant form for that reason. Lukaku isn't even a starter. That's a solid argument. But he's done well for them off the bench on occasions. Let's see, what else do we have? Chika Eze, one day. Thank you so much for finding the time to join us here. I appreciate you. And morning to you too. I hope you're doing well. Let's see. Big up to you too, our number Stanley and one day Dalo. I appreciate you. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon to you too. And what else do we have in the chat here? Is pitch who? Comment on the camel from Barcelona. Who? What? Oh, I, I think your phone helped you there. Your phone thinking it knew exactly what you wanted to type and helped you complete it. It happens to all of us. So I understand if you're asking if Pochettino is coming on the back of a Carmel from Barcelona, that may well be the case because it's taking too long. But I've always thought, felt like as if they don't want to announce him now they want to wait until the end of the season, even though you can argue it's obvious. Yeah, he's actually full time to play, but I don't know. Coach, we are looking at Martinez to unlock Lukaku, so I'm just trying to see what Poch is thinking. Um, you've said that before, and you can say that's a solid argument, really. But here's the thing: where the issue lies. At that season, when Lukaku, broke all sorts of records at Inter Milan, the two chief creators for him at that time were the Moroccan international Ashraf Hakimi and Lautaro Martinez. And once Ashraf went to PSG and Lukaku returned to Inter, things weren't the same. And at that point, you could say Lautaro is grown into the role of becoming the main guy at Inter Milan. I think he captained them at one stage. I don't know who's the current captain. I wasn't paying attention, but I think Lautaro probably subconsciously, you could say, even would let me just say clearly wouldn't want to go back to becoming Lukaku's creator when he's already become the main man. It's a mental thing and it's a human thing, and you could say that probably must have been the reason why Lukaku has not been able to replicate the form he showed at Inter before was signed. It's a believable argument if you ask me, but right now it's just a theory. That's just my theory. Good morning, a lot of people, Mr. And everyone. Good morning to you too. I hope you're doing well. JC says Alba won the Spanish league medal, coach. Yeah, yeah. By the way, like Kinso said in a comment, yeah, he can't because he started the season with them, didn't he? So yeah, so congratulations to him. Poch got to get rid of unnecessary chaff, Aubameyang, Stalin, Ziyech, Loftus-Cheek, Gallagher, Habat in Mount, Tenaro, Tapia Tenaro. We will have a conversation regarding what player stays or not. We take our time to consider how the manager likes or the incoming manager likes to approach football and the players' form, contract, and all those the factors we know that should be considered before deciding whether the player moves on or stays. If that makes sense. And let's see what else we have here. Martinez looked to me as a younger clone of Giroud, better with age, but worse with heading the ball. Could be still to have Giroud and think we're playing Martinez. Let's see what happens. I'm not sure what the club are going to do right now. I really do want us to get to, discussing some of the news items we have lined up and then go into the tier list exercise. The fact remains that we cannot be sure what Pochettino wants. These are all speculations. I agree with you from different journalists and sometimes made up stories are from just fans like you and I who get it wrong most of the time. And they've gotten a lot wrong in recent days. They're telling us it was only the Poch was going to be announced about 2 weeks ago or so. Actually, now look where we are today. We haven't gotten any official announcement from the club. Premier League is a different terrain. It's a peculiar footballing culture. So, if any must thrive, he needs to find what works for him and try to up his game regardless of where he is coming from. That's the truth. The tempo is different, the pace is different, physicality and all that. These are things that people should start taking seriously. Let's go. What else do we have here? Let's start looking at the items we have lined up so we can move on now. Why isn't it? Just give me a few minutes. Okay, there you go. The first item is this. It says that Chelsea have watched Manuel Orate this season, but are working on other priorities as it stands. So which is maybe we'll have him on the list as an option, not really as a priority. But he's a fine player. You can say I don't know him that much, but from little I've known, you can say he's not the tallest, but he's aggressive. He has physical too, and he's good on the ball also, and he's a good destroyer overall. So and has a good passing range on him, but I still need to watch him more. Like I said, I'd take Casado if we can afford him over him, even though Casado is primarily a box-to-box midfielder. But I think you can charge him to be more disciplined and do more defensive, and he's capable of doing that. But we're not sure what the club are going to do. If you're in the chat, let me know what you make of the club's interest in Manuel Ugarte. To me, he's a fine player. He's an option I wouldn't mind if all other options fail to materialize. I wouldn't say no to Ugarte. Ugarte is a fine player overall. But let's hear your thoughts if you're in the chat there. What do you make of the club's interest in Ugarte, or would you rather the club's focus on, look elsewhere or look at other players if that's the language you prefer? Poch comes from School of Bielsa. Myself, you're talking about myself, Bielsa, the former Leeds United coach, but I think Poch is more. You could say, as much as I think both managers are too stubborn, or you could say, somewhat. In the case of Poch, I want to use the word somewhat rigid tactically. I think he must have learned from his mistakes to be a bit more flexible. I think Bielsa is so rigid that you can be so assured of what to expect from his team when you play against them, and then put go with a strategy in mind, and it still works. He hardly changes. So I think Poch is different. But maybe with regards to the high octane football, high press, that's something they have in common. But Bielsa is one manager I hated him so much, even though I hated playing against Leeds United, because the fact is they were so well drilled under him that even though you know how you beforehand, you know how they were going to play, you still can't, you still find it difficult playing against them, primarily because of the high octane approach. Yes, a student of Bielsa back in the 90s and early 2000s, but Poch has his own methodology, a progressive student of the game. I think, thank you. That's just, again, that's another way to, uh, you could say that's a better way of actually presenting the argument I wanted to present with regards to Poch being a student of Bielsa. Bielsa, if he can learn to be a bit more flexible with his approach, I think his teams would do very well. Um, let's see. We'll move on from this topic. It looks like nobody is interested in talking about Manuel. Chelsea's interest, Chelsea Football Club's interest in Manuel Ugarte. But let's see this item here. Another one I want to talk about. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. We are at 32 likes already. Let's get the likes up. Remember, we're shooting for 200 likes. And I want to quickly appeal to those of you that are watching and for one reason or the other not able to participate in the chat. Just want to say thank you to you all. You people provide a great value to the community also. But if you can do us one more favor, please take a second, just drop a like on the stream. I promise you, nobody will know you did that. It takes just half a second just to click, and you're done. Thank you. Yeah, good counter. Not counter really, because JC just reminded us they've worked together, but not saying he's like him. He didn't at any time say he's like him. YTV01, coach, we should get Urate. The other targets are like Rice, Casado, and McAllister will be overpriced, or there will be bidding wars. Get Urate done fast because we need to focus on our outings. I think Kingso, when I posted a reel on Instagram, he looked at it and said we better move fast, because the truth is, the whole world is starting to see how good of a footballer he is, and the truth remains, by the time we get to summer, lots of other clubs will be interested, and with us not having Champions League football, that may well be an issue. So yeah, let me see if anything new has emerged quickly, so we can move on. Um, I don't have three screens right now. Where I usually set it up, I see updates automatically, and one something is wrong with my system, and I haven't had the time to try to figure it out. So let's see what else do we have here. Anything new here? Okay, nothing new. Let me see what you have in the chat. I've read that one. Yeah, I think we should try and get Uhate as soon as possible. Yes, keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. 35 likes. Let's get the likes to 100 and shoot for 200. The target today is 200 likes. What we need has nothing to do with it. Do the math. We are stuck with him. Okay, let's move on. Neil Mikey Neal, always nice to see you, brother. I would be happy for Mountain Havertz if they go. Wow. Let's see. At a point in this game, I got tired of making. Okay, I get tired of making inputs, or being critical. Because at last it takes the players and the entire management system and methodology to make things work. So let's just hope. Yeah, that's the truth. Not just the players, not just the coaching staff and everything. It takes everybody. That's under the entity Chelsea Football Club. If that makes sense. Now let's talk about this one. Havertz and Mount um, have been discussed at Bayern, but the club haven't followed it up with concrete steps as of yet. Okay. Here's the thing. As I'm not sure what to make of the story. I know lots of Chelsea fans would like to see Havertz leave the club. Some also would like to see Mount leave. And I'm tired of the argument. In the case of Mount, I actually hate involving myself in the argument uh, where the point is whether I'd like him to stay or not. I actually argue that what he needs again, why he hasn't reached, the heights that we all know he's capable of reaching, and that's because most managers focus on his industry, the amount of running he does on the pitch, the pressing and all that, his commitment on the pitch maybe, but he hasn't been coached properly since that loan spell in the Netherlands. I think it was Vietnamese. How do you pronounce that club's name? You could call it a Chelsea feeder club, but that's wrong. Actually, that's not what it is. Yeah, that's the only time he was coached properly. Beyond that, his loan spell at in the Netherlands, I think the focus has always been his energy, pressing and all that. And Thomas Tuchel he was one of those that overdid it. If that makes sense. So to me, Havertz, I think that's a good player, and he that's a better player in him. Let me just phrase it like that. A player, that's better than the player we've seen of late or on the previous managers. Uh, he just needs to play. He just needs maybe under a different manager like Pochettino. Maybe he starts firing nozzle in this, and we start seeing a player with what we can look at and say, yeah, he's worth how much we paid for him. A prime example, I like to mention the case of Antonio Rudiger. I went under Frank Lampard's first stint as Chelsea manager. A lot of people thought he was done. A lot of people thought Rudiger was done, and boom! Once the moment Thomas Tuchel took over, he became one of the best defenders in the whole world, and it was pivotal to everything we won under Thomas Tuchel. So I don't write off players, and that's especially true when you have when the case is when the fact is that the team has underperformed as a unit. So isolating the performance of individual players doesn't really make sense to me. That's how I see it as a disclaimer, my opinion. And I'm not forcing that on you, and you're entitled to your opinion. It's as simple as that, and that's how we roll here on a Chelsea perspective. Yes, people keep dropping the likes. 38 likes. We should be doing better than that. We're 43 minutes into the show, and we have just 38 likes. We should be doing better than that. Mace to stay. I will die on this hill. Here's the thing. You're talking about Mason Mount. I'm just going to put it this way. It's looking more like he's going to leave rather than stay. The recent reports suggest that a relationship between his camp and the club's hierarchy is at an all-time low. Um, and plus, there are lots of, you can say, lots of stuff when you look at them. They are serious stumbling blocks to the club coming, agreeing terms with Mason Mount, the new contract construct or format, if you prefer. Forget about the length. There are other things that if they, I don't know how to phrase it uh, you know, to get my points across effectively. But I think for me, overall, he's more likely to leave than stay. Um, what we have here, we have to use too many narratives to convince fans that Havertz is a good player. Maybe he's just not, and he's just leaving off the goal. But if a good offer comes in, then sell him. It's not up to me. If they sell him, it doesn't change anything with regarding whether I still remain a Chelsea fan. I've seen the club sell players that I didn't want them to even pick up, consider selling. So yeah, I'm just saying there's a chance he does better under a different manager, if that makes sense. How do you take notice of someone struggling with anxiety? Our supporters came to preach or to open up about how taking notice of others and being taken notice of has helped with anxieties on match day at CFC. I'm not sure whether to respond to that. And even if I want to, I'm not sure how to respond. I have to be honest. Um, but I think you're referencing the fans. Are they serious at CFC? If they are the root cause of anxiety, okay, now I get your point, but more clearly. Now, what else do we have here? And let's keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. 39 likes. Let's get it to 100 and shoot for 200. This says Mount want 300K a week again. Okay, how do you know that? That will not show. I remember he's responded to the talks that his whole thing, that the negotiations came to a stalemate because he wanted 300,000 pounds a week. If that was, I don't think that's the case. Nobody knows. We're just outsiders, speculating or just trying to make sense of what's going on. And it's easy to believe whatever we see out there. Because just have a look at the CFC Twitter feed. Are they trolling with the anxiety post? Okay, now I understand why you're not happy at that. I will open it up in a bit. Let's see. What else do we have lined up here? Keep dropping the likes on the chat, people, and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. How do you go from a Chelsea boy to this? Where does the problem lie? What caused this switch? Those are the issues, not wages. Was it all a lie? We don't know. That's what I'm saying. We are all speculating. We're not too sure. None of us has ever been at the table where they have a discussion or where they're negotiating the new Mason Mount new contract. And so it doesn't make sense to actually come out and say that this problem or the other has always been the reason why, you can say, has been the reason why they haven't come to an agreement. I don't think that's the case. What else do we have? Sell Alba, Mendy, as he loves to shake in. Go ahead if you have Ahmed, Gutama. Nice to see you. Thank you so much for joining. Okay, come on, coach. You are happy reading this news, not because of it, but rather you know very well that there's no transfer news on your favorite player. KK, I knew you were going to talk about Koulibaly. Um, but I get your point. Here's the thing. I will always read everything, but I'm not happy reading this because I like Kai Havertz as a player, and I think he can do better than us. If the club wants to move him on, then I'm all for it. Whatever works. Just get it. If Poch feels like he can get the best out of him, or he doesn't need him, move him on. It's as simple as that. The hype and the banner killed Mount's progress. Certain stands were categorizing him. Okay, you mean fans? We're categorizing him with Messi and Neymar. Well, I'm not sure. I'm not. I'm not sure how to or whether to agree. Whether categorizing him, with Neymar and Messi and Neymar. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what to make of this. This contribution there from my bro and friend, the Bluetooth again. But hypes can be dangerous. But I'm not sure that's the case this time. Breaking news: Tony Mount ordered a scientific calculator on Alibaba. The usual calculator does not have enough digits. Yeah, exactly. Since people are making up numbers, saying that he wants a 300K per week, which I think is absolute nonsense. Even though I'd like him to stay, I think a coach like Pochettino can get the best out of Mount, can look beyond what Mount has won, the Champions League Club World Cup and the European Super Cup, and focus on making him better, focus on helping him reach the heights we all know he's capable of reaching, and realizing he's actually a technically gifted player, not just you can say an industry. You can say and not just an industrious player, and help him become better. If that makes sense. Let's see what else we have here. This says, smash a like button, people, please. We have 44 likes. We should be doing better than that. Let's get the likes up, and also please do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Smash the like button, subscribe, and support the channel. Time for Poch to be signed. The club needs to know its direction. I think also we're asking. I think they already. If you ask me, I'd say the club already know. They do know the hierarchy. They know what direction we're going. But yeah, we need clarity. We need if we sign, just announce them so we move on from that. Apologies, I didn't know you love Kai too. No, I I like him, and I love Kovacic too. But no worries, bro. No need to apologize. Let's say what else do we have here? Okay, join in soon. Okay, hopefully you join in time. No worries. Whenever you're ready, brother. Okay, guys, so click the like button and ensure to subscribe to this awesome channel. Says my bro Temidayo Oluma Ronkami. Why am I finding it difficult to pronounce the last name? You can say it's not a common name. But Temidayo, thank you for saying that, brother. God bless you. My Niger, bro. Let's see, Coach Stans will hype him out the way you hype Koulibaly. Wow. So, what's his name? Vivel has started a campaign against me, and you didn't waste time to catch it quickly. I don't hype Koulibaly. I think Koulibaly is a fine player. Coach, what is the qualification required to be on your channel? No qualification. If you want to just message me via Twitter, and for your first appearance, you have to be on camera. And after that, if I trust you well enough, of which I know I trust you, but you have to be on camera, and I'll explain why later. Then, then we'll look at you and see you're not here to punch people in in the face. They will add you to the resident panelist group. Then every time we have a show, you can always join in. So if you're serious, if you want to come on now, message me via Twitter or via Instagram and let me know so I can check it and send the link to you. But you'd have to be on camera for your first appearance. If Neymar comes, then how much his wages up a week would be? I don't think we can afford Neymar right now. I get it. And some journalists are arguing. I read something to the effect of Chelsea being the only viable option right now. Should be as you want to sell him. There are no other serious interest from other European clubs. Um, to me, it's a risk, given the fact that I get it. We'll be making lots of sales in the summer, and plus maybe likely to sign a new deal with a new shirt sponsor that will help us balance the books. Or you can say, yeah, balance the books. Quicker than expected. But Neymar would compound that. I don't think we can afford Neymar right now. That's my opinion. But chances are, the rumors that our owners are obsessed with Neymar. That may well be the case. I don't know. If they sign him tomorrow, I'm not going to be surprised. Though I think he's a good footballer. I think he still has a lot to offer. But he will come with lots of baggage, if that makes sense. What else do we have here? Jerry, you need to pass the Nightbot test, my friend. I think Jerry has already passed the Nightbot test since he's a moderator right now. If the decision were to be with me concerning football as a Chelsea fan, trust me, the only man if wish coaches this team is Pep, nothing less. I don't think Pep would take this team right now. Knowing Pep, I don't think he risks going to teams where he'd have to. There's a lot of work. Let me just simplify it. There's a lot of work, and the possibility of this team starting to perform immediately isn't there, or to an extent where he'd say, okay, you know what, I get it. I'm not going to win anything this season, but by next season, I think we'll be all right. You could say there's no of telling whether this team is capable of doing that. Perhaps you could say, like Mourinho, in most cases, won a ready-made team. One team that he'd look at and say, okay, they're ready to play my way. I don't need anything too much to get them to start playing my way, and they're ready to win already. Maybe all I have to do is just to have to get them to start playing my way. I don't know how to explain that to get my point across effectively, but I don't think this team will work for Pep. I don't think he'd take the job. Too much risk involved, and no Champions League too. Priscilla, you'll find for an attempt of butchering your last name, even though I'm Nigerian. Apologies, bro. I sincerely do apologize. I tried my best with your last name. It's not a very common Yoruba name, by the way. It's not a very common Yoruba name. But yeah, let's see. If you are here to punch people in the face, let me refer you to. Yeah, go help yourself either. But Jerry Z isn't here to do that, and I know that quite well. A big up to you too, Phil Siebes. I hope you're doing well. What are we talking about right now? What you see on the screen? The buy-in. They've discussed Mason Mount and Kai Havertz internally, but they haven't shown interest in the two players. And I hope if we want to sell them, I hope they do. But I think even if they want them, they're not going to be in a rush to show interest because it's a huge risk. You can say no. I think the strategy will be to leave it at the point where they believe we're desperate. Once the transfer window opens and a few days into it, or towards the end, they come say we need this player. I think it's not going to be easy summer for us because some of those players we're selling, it's not like they are they've shown they've been performing exceptionally well for us. That you can say there are multiple clubs vying for their signature. In most cases, the players we have, we're just trying to sell them because they are in the last year of their Chelsea contract, and we don't want to risk losing them on a free. Yeah, so it's going to be difficult to get something to get a lot of money from those players. The only panelist that has a punchable face is I'm not gonna do that. You slug it out with those in the chat. Name is sorry. Let's see what else we have here. Why do you folks always use the baggage narrative for Neymar when almost all players come with baggage? But you could say his is unique. First of all, he hardly stays fit, and you know that's the truth. He hardly stays fit, and plus, lots of something. Neymar is practically not just he's not just a footballer; he's a model too. If you don't mind, I don't know how to to get my points across effectively in this case, but you know what I mean. But big up to you, Vic. Always nice to see you. But if you tell me if you think it's not going to become with lots of baggage, you explain. Coach, the club asking everybody to be on the lookout of one anxiety issue on Twitter needs to be highlighted in your stream. Let us be socially responsible in this time of anxiety in Chelsea FC. Okay, I will find it and highlight it. If you can share the link, it will make it easier on me. Oluwarokami means God sees my heart, and I like that typical Nigerian name with serious meaning. Pronounced as Oluwarokami. Oluwarokami. Why am I? I'm gonna stop. To me, but thank you. I'm gonna try and learn how to pronounce your last name, but I'm gonna stick with the first name for a while, and I'm gonna learn that in a bit. Blues fans and tweeters are saying, Reece James gut filter. What gut filter? Okay, shed some weight. Does it look that way to you, Coach? I haven't seen him. I think if he loses some weight, if he sheds some weight, I think that will go a long way. With regards to his fitness, at least that's how I what I believe. I'm not a fitness expert by any stretch of imagination. We can take out baggage on board. Neymar baggage requires another plane. Okay, yeah, I want Vic to elaborate why he thinks it's not going to be an issue. This year, you got me right, Kachila. Okay, thank you so much. Olua Rokami. Yeah, just simplify. Don't try you know, to articulate every letter. I think that makes it easier. Let's see. Big up to you too, Michael Obincom. I hope you're doing well. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people, and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. I think it's about time I bring in my bro and friend Bobby so we can move on quickly and us monitoring Manuel Ugarte. He's a fine player. He is very aggressive, good passing range, and reads the game quite well. And finds, you could say he's a more, to an extent, he's a more defensively better Kovacic. But you go ahead. I want to get your thoughts. I think
Big up, coach. Ugarte, I mean, this is somebody, if I told you I was very familiar with, I would be lying. I've heard him. In fact, the first person that really drew my attention to Ugarte was you. Apart from, I don't even think I watched him thoroughly in the League game where
Mhm.
Benfica eliminated Arsenal, or is it Sporting he plays for? So
Yeah,
the fact
Sporting
that I
CP.
haven't even got that right shows how much I know about him. However,
Yeah.
having said that, based on what I've heard, he fits the profile, and based on the fact that his price might be more reasonable than
Other options.
Declan Rice and other options, it could be the way to go because he seems to be of that equal quality. Now, I want to speak up for the owners because quite often they get a lot of unnecessary stick because of the errors they have made. But people forget the good things they've done, not least to mention the way they have held on to Levi Colwill, where there was a huge pressure to actually sell him, and they did a deal with Brighton. And part of the reason Cucurella cost us so much was for us to just send him on loan so he can get game time, and for us not to have him as sold as part of
And,
that
and
deal.
given the fact how desperately we wanted Correa at that point, it would have been easier actually to just let him go because we wanted Correa.
Exactly. And this was a time where our directorship was not in place, and Mr. Bowley was doing this himself. So you have to give him credit for some things. Another thing I want to speak about the ownership for is that these guys have made up their mind that because they purchased the club with zero debt, they are quite prepared to take massive losses in the first few years, bearing in mind they've not been here for up to a year. Why? Because they keep telling you guys they're in it for the long term. It's a long term plan, and
Yeah.
people seem to think, oh, long term, that means they don't care about winning trophies immediately. That's not true. They're talking of financial long term. Of course, they want to win trophies straight away because winning trophies is part of helping address your financial stability.
Mhm.
But they're talking of financial long term, which means apart from the FFP issue, they're quite prepared to absorb losses, losses that they may need to absorb, getting rid of people like Lukaku, losses they may need to absorb, selling off players on the cheap this summer because we're kind of cornered into that. A lot of losses they may need to absorb by some of the high wages, that disparity in wages that they've already put themselves into. For example, what they've committed to paying people like Sterling, um, for example, and might have to commit to pay the likes of a Mason Mount, although I'm not quite sure how that will work with the rest of the squad because they're trying to trim down the wages, and rightly so. So before people come out with their gun cocked, or rather their trigger hammer cocked, ready to shoot these owners
Hey,
and say they
Here's
don't
thing,
have a
Bobby.
plan.
We're gonna have members on the show where we talk about the project. So let's just get knock out the topic we have.
No,
It's
I'm
it's
just concluding because it's
yeah.
relevant to the topic. Just a quick conclusion. Before we shoot them, remember the good they're doing. Now, so Ugarte and the likes of these purchases, I'm all for it. People think I'm very rigid. Of course, I'm Chelsea through and through, but I have flexibility. That's why I'm embracing Pochettino. I've looked at it, I've reasoned with everybody, looked at the reasons, and I thought, okay, in view of where we are and in view of what's out there, that he probably is the best bet. Now, looking at Ugarte, as I've said just now, I didn't know that much about him, if anything at all. It's through you I got to even start to look into him. And from what I've seen and what I've heard, And from the clips I've seen, although you never judge a player just from clips, I think that's a good shout. That's a very good shout as an option for the summer because defensive midfield is definitely an area we need to strengthen. He seems physical, although I'm not sure of his height, to be honest. I'm not sure if he's quite tall enough, but he's not petite, which is what we need to get away from in view of the physical nature of our Premier League.
Mhm. All right, thank you. Let me catch up on the chat. I'll bring in Roger, and I was going to ask you something. I think I'll come back to you when I
Hello,
get a chance.
Roger, my brother and resident QC. I was about to ask about you.
He had to join on time. You know, you complained yesterday that he left
Yeah,
you alone here for a while.
we can't have that. I've got to have my brother there
Mhm.
with me.
Never leave a
Yes,
brother behind.
That's right.
keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. We have 55 likes, 45 more to get it to 100. Remember, we're shooting for 200. And if you're a moderator in the chat, keep reminding people to keep dropping the likes. Does James have anxiety issues with the weight loss? I am just being on the lookout for the club. Okay, thank you so much for being that being kind. Oh, sorry for the club people. Please, coach, what are your chances? My chance with Osimhen. I think in my time, had it been on the ground, but I would have said no. But you can say I would say Port, as much as I think is stubborn tactically, or maybe a bit too stiff tactically for my liking. I think Osimhen at just 23, he'd be able to help him to become a more rounded player than he is right now. My biggest concern from the start has always been the fact that he's played mainly since he became a professional football. Although he started as a defender, actually, he started playing professional football. He's played mainly as a traditional striker. But I've watched Napoli closely. He doesn't just wait in the box; he drops deep. But he's not a finished article, or should I say, product yet. But I think Poch is the man that can help him become even better. That's how I see it. Right now, I'm all for the club. If they want to go for him, even if they can afford him, yeah, get him.
Hey, Sue.
Sorry?
Sorry, I apologize.
No, nothing. You were saying something. I was listening.
No, I was actually speaking to someone else. I didn't realize I was on mute. I apologize.
Yeah, we heard everything. We heard everything, the good and the bad. But that's, by the way, to me, I think he could work on the Porsche. But let's see what the club wants to do. And here we have the screen looks like it's becoming slow again. I still think we should bring in Dumfries to compete with. I'm not reading that with James. It could be bringing another UEFA Champions League medal with him. I like Dumfries, but we have Melo Gusto now, and I think Gusto will be a better player for us than Dumfries. My first search was Dumfries until we started talking about Melo Gusto, and I started looking at him. I think it will be good for us. Hopefully, he stays fit. But I would say him getting injured immediately after we signed him, you could say it's a Chelsea thing. Without that, I'd say maybe he's not going to do well at Chelsea. But the fact that he got injured after we signed him shows, yeah, that's a typical Chelsea player. Um, but let's move on. Can we share a dose of anxiety with Lukaku? Oh, come on, please. That's not even good for a joke. The weight issue with ponchos on the. Oh, please, let's not do that, please. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. And if you're not a moderator, please kindly avoid using all caps. Nightbot will delete your message, and next it will actually time you out. If that makes sense. If you're not a moderator, avoid using all caps or using more than 3 emojis. If that, please. So keep it clean there. Let's see what else we have. Alas, I am what? Something comments I'm seeing. Some people chose violence this morning, and I'm not all for it. I have to be honest. Um, I'm having issue with my highlight screen again, so I have to move on from that. Let's see. It doesn't look like it's going to answer me from that angle there. I do not see the prospect for three right backs. A sensible thing for a team trying to get things right. I keep it two at most at the moment. Usually, when you have three players in the same position, it's usually, it can cause issues. If it's in the midfield area, then you can actually easily get one, get you could say a like for like midfielder to get one of them to fulfill a different role, and it still works. With Chalobah and Gusto, I see a set cover-up, a set cover-up plan for Reese, and then we look at the other departments for strengthening. More importantly, is the need for an overall improvement for me. That's the thing. That's how I'd like to see it too. It looks like the chat is on fire now. It's going to take a while to catch up with everything we have there, so I may have to stop in a beat. Let's see what we have. Feliz Navidad. That sounds like it's a Christmas song. Yeah, lyric.
No,
It's
he's messing with me in Spanish.
yeah, I know. It's a long-term plan because they didn't have one. Says Orate. I like Orate, but I can't say he's my first choice right now. I still need to learn more about him. But more importantly, he's physical. He can be aggressive, good on the ball. But I need to see him ceiling even more. And he's just 22. The only thing I want from Bali and the board is his money. I don't want his opinion, his changing room invasion, his 4-4-3 formation, or his Gallagher at left wing back deal. Ideal. Just show me the money, bro, and move on, right? And just sign the check whenever we want to sign a player. And as much as I love you, the beautiful game, I have to let you know everything you've mentioned here. There's no way to confirm that those things truly happen. But like I said, as Chelsea fans, given the situation at the club, we found ourselves at a very vulnerable place where it's easy to to believe everything that comes out. To me, I believe the one that said something to the effect of him going into the dressing room during halftime and all that. It's believable to a certain extent, but I didn't believe I will never, and didn't believe the one James could then being the one suggesting who we hire on fire. It just doesn't. That one just doesn't make any sort of sense. But I get it. Well, you're entitled to believe whatever you want to believe. It's you, not me. They need a reset. It will take time. Pochettino can rebuild the team. I believe so too. I don't know how to say your name. It will take time to master that. That seems like a cryptic name, if you ask me. I disagree. It won't take much time. Poch will be an instant success. We are making too much about this so-called rebuild. Our squad is delicious. Wow. Okay, something positive there, but let's see. I don't think it will click immediately. I think it will take a bit of time. If it clicks immediately, then I'll take it. The L'Oreal test, yeah, exactly. You know that. Good luck dealing with him. And he's actually said publicly that they're going to push it to keep Osimhen, and which is not bad. Chris, see, that's why Chelsea have signed another right back as James gets injured a lot, and Aspilicueta doesn't have the pace anymore. It makes sense, and as we all believe will not be here come the end of the season. And it's simple logic, really. I don't think I get it. He provides leadership, except if he's going to join the coaching staff. Then fine. We need to get rid of Kante and sign Casado. Wow. Let me say this. Maybe that's just me. Even say take Kante, take Ugarte. No, take Ugarte, take Casado. Give me Kante. Let Kante go. I would say no. That's me, my opinion. I don't know how else to say it, not to come across as I don't know, but that's just me. But I understand what that's you're entitled to your opinion. It sounds like you should. What? Okay, I'm gonna move on there. Why am I reading your conversations? Even though sometimes I just feel like I have to be in the chat just to enjoy whatever is going on there. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. 61 likes. It looks like we're going to make it to 200 soon. And please don't worry. We'll get into the tier list exercise as soon as possible. Chelsea need a goalkeeper, defensive midfielder, and a striker. And I'm going to say this every time a Chelsea fan comes in and say, well, we need, they skip the fact we need an attacking midfielder who's capable of producing double digits in terms of assists or chance creation. Let me just keep it at that. You guys forgot after Cesc Fabregas, we haven't had anybody in the team that's been able to create chances consistently and create many in the same game. Once you make a run, they see you. I'm not going to go into details because I'm going to start sounding like a broken record. But let me just give it a bit one try and say. I'm not going to say this is the last time because it will come up again. We've been creating chances, and 90% of the time, and I can be sure that's the case. The chances we create come from the flanks and on the carpet, which makes it very predictable. we don't create too many from the central areas of the pitch, and that's an issue. If that makes sense. I don't find anything funny in that statement. Let's see what else we have here. Um, why is this slow? Really? Big up to you too. And that's what? It's not even switching. Big up Kachila in the chat. Big up to you too, Chelsea, all the way. I'm gonna get in, Roger. Roger, you want to talk about Chelsea's interest in Manuel Ugarte, or do you want to talk about this that talks about Bayern that they discussed Mason Mount and Kai Havertz entirely, but the club haven't followed up with concrete steps as of yet. Um, yeah, what do you have to say? I know you like Kai, but yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead. I want to get your thoughts.
yeah. Seriously, hello, gentlemen. It's a pleasure as
Hello to you
always.
too, brother.
And also, Feliz Navidad to Glenn in the middle of
Hmm.
May. That's Merry
Back
Christmas.
at you, like American
Yeah,
should say.
yeah. That's funny, Feliz Navidad. That's bloody funny. Um, Listen, Ugarte, unlike Bobby, I've been following him since his early days. No, I'm kidding. I don't know anything about him.
I
Um,
know. Go ahead.
Seriously, I'm like
This is not your
Ugarte.
first time saying you don't know much about it, but yeah, but go
Yeah,
ahead.
yeah. I was like, what president is he from? What country? No. So I really can't comment. It would be really unfair. As for Havertz, listen, I believe, just like most German experts, I believe we haven't seen the best of Kai. We haven't seen his full potential. He's still a fetus. You know, he's what is he, 24 or something? I can't
22.
recall. Is it?
22.
It's not. Havertz is 22. Are you
No, you're
serious?
talking about, you're talking about Havertz now?
Yeah,
Okay,
he's
let me check for you.
23. He's
Okay, 23,
23 and
okay.
11 months. So he's 24 next month. Listen, he is years away from reaching his peak form. So it would be remiss of us to part ways with him. I'd be shocked that Poch doesn't want him because of not only his industry, the way he closes down, and that's what Poch likes. He likes closing down from the front. So he would be, you would think, a prototypical player that Poch would want. And yes, he's not a prolific goal scorer, but that could change. Many things, many variables could make him better, including
Mm.
better people around him. I think if we do let him go to another country, let's say, and I know this league probably doesn't suit him the best, but if he goes to Bayern, you'll see in a couple of years' time, if he stays healthy, obviously, you'll see an elite player. Um, I think that would be a huge mistake. I'm a huge fan of Kai. I really am. You know,
Mm.
Mount. Listen, I know you're probably going. You're probably 60-40 for Mount leaving. Probably, I think it's 50-50 with the arrival of Poch. I really do. But I couldn't bet either way. But I hope he stays because I think he's so young. And listen, these players have been playing together for a couple of years, so I would hope this is the beginning of a journey. You know, and the same goes for other players too that are young and have been here a couple of years. This you could look back in 4 or 5 years' time and say, yeah, this was a solid core group of players, and hopefully that's the case. But one never knows.
Mm. Right, thank you so much. If you can try to keep up on the likes, 61 likes. Remember, we're shooting for 200 likes today. I'd really like to see that happening. Hello to you too, Sheila, my bro. Always nice to see you. I appreciate you. Much love to you. I hope you're doing well. I'm gonna have a big issue. My screen is starting to act up again. It looks like whenever the chart is on fire, StreamYard it's not capable of handling it very well. We needed two DMs and a CM, Palinha and Urate as DMs and Casado as a CM. Let's see what the club does. I can't stay here and argue with them with two DMs. I'm not Pochettino. I would like incoming players to be kept on the low while we shift the attention to outgoing players to bring in some fronts. It's a difficult balance to achieve because if we sell first, then if we sell from any department on the pitch where we need to bring in reinforcement, then we're in trouble. The selling club will know we're desperate. All right, it's as simple as that. Big up to you, Eugene. To be honest, if everything goes on plan, I think Reece James will lose a first 11 when Gusto starts the crew. I think a lot of people believe Gusto is capable of actually starting over him, which is what we want. We want competition there. Let the better player always start, and if player A gets injured, player B comes in, does a good job, or an even better job. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people, and also do subscribe if you haven't. Thank you for 63 likes. We have 71 people watching. At one point, we had 80 plus watching, so we should have more than 63 likes. Remember, we're shooting for 200 likes a day. On a low, meaning not publicly reflecting a silence business. It's been the biggest. The problem is this. The problem is this. The leaks come from how they emerge. I don't know. I don't think the club at any point can. I don't think the clubs willingly let journalists know. Look, we want to sign this player, and here's what's going on. I don't know how the leaks happen. I just want to say, but I just want to again. I don't think that the club's hierarchy will intentionally let the public know this is what we're trying to do. Because if anything, in most cases, it will only show how desperate you are, and then it can cost the selling club to hike the price of the player. Kante is injured all the time. Chelsea need a constant defensive midfielder to play alongside Enzo. You can say some will say that's a solid argument, given if he get, but if he keeps getting injured, then it's a problem really. Which I don't say that's the issue right now. I would take Hakimi and put Reece James in the middle. Some argument. Hakimi,
Yeah.
I said, yeah. Hakimi is actually an excellent wing back player. Yeah, Ashraf Hakimi. Guys, more likes and please subscribe to the channel. You can also bring your football loving friends to join us here. Thank you so much for saying that, and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And likes. The likes also do go a long way. So thank you so much for saying that, Temidayo. Let's see. Any person where you did talk, I say, many can do the Milner County. This sounds more like a riddle. I'm not gonna try to fry my brain right now, try to figure out what you're saying. I'm not sure. I think you're trying to type in pidgin English, but it's still not clear enough. I'm sorry. Poch has arrived in London, according to Telegraph. Delicious coach, like I said, how you say it. I like Delicious contributions in the chat. But Poch, he's finally still lives in London, so I wouldn't say that's big news actually. Correct me if I'm wrong. I heard his wife still lives in London and all that. Why are people addicted to shining new toys? New toys. We need to retain some senior players such as Kante. Is Arsenal? Yeah, it's a huge lesson for us. We need not to, lose the spine of the club by letting the players like Kante leave. Even if it gets injured, I think we should keep him to maintain some consistency with regards to having old heads or experienced heads within the ranks of the club, not just all young players. I'm not saying Kante is a bad player, but he is injured far too often, and it is hard to justify 300,000 pounds a week wages when he's only plays about 10 or 15 games a season. We need another world class CDM. That's a solid argument if you're comparing that with regards to his injury
Yeah, but
record. But I think,
coach,
yeah, go ahead.
if he's not overused, like playing every game, and also more importantly, taken off at the 70th minute, because studies have shown that when you reach over 30, and most injuries occur after the 70th minute, muscle injuries I'm referring to. So if he's used judiciously, then I believe he can be of huge benefit to Chelsea. But as always, for national team and domestic team, historically, I'm surprised if they don't use him as a tea lady also. I mean, come on. I get it. If I'm the manager, it's pretty hard not to. And he's the type of person that doesn't say no. He loves to play, obviously. But I think we need to be far more cautious in how we use him, in what games we use him. I think that will elongate his career tremendously.
Yeah, I agree with you. Just find a way to use them sparingly, not to overuse them.
Yeah,
And one thing most people must consider whenever you talk about the future of Kante, or just deciding that the club should let him go because he's injury prone and all that. The fact is, we contributed to how many times he's been injured. Us
yeah.
and Deschamps being the French national team coach. Kante has been so important to the French national team and Chelsea Football Club that the slightest is recovered from whatever injury he's suffering, boom, we'll pull him back into the fold, whether he's ready or not. He's been that important. And I think the club, they're really trying to keep him because they've looked back. And the fact remains since he joined us. I mean, you people actually forcing me to start sounding like a broken record. There's hardly any trophy that Chelsea has won that Kante, you can say, wasn't pivotal to.
I'll give you another example.
Yeah.
England versus France in the World Cup. Our midfield was just as good, if not better, than France's because Kante wasn't there. If Kante was healthy and playing for France, it would have been over a long time ago.
Mhm.
Just being honest,
Yeah,
and that's coming from an English fan.
yeah, he's an excellent player. And Sean, I know you're not a Havertz fan. So he says Shalom can go back. Havertz can go back to Germany. His time has run its course. Yeah, but I know you quite well. I know you don't like him. But that's by the way, you're entitled
Please,
to your
Sean.
opinion, brother. The New York guy.
Yeah, I
Coach,
know.
please, can we replace a picture from good old days? I am feeling anxiety. I don't know. I am not a doctor. Take care of yourself, Jesse, and take everything with a pinch of salt. Terror Steves are kindly just don't worry about him. I'm gonna try and skip it. Let's say maybe that's where we have to be on the lookout. You could argue that. I think I'm going to scroll quite a few and get to the very bottom. Let's see what we have here from. Uh, uh, let's we forget Nkunku is coming. Oh, that's not something that you can actually forget. Yeah, that's one thing you cannot forget. Does anyone know if Barca have more levers? I cannot take another window like that last one. My anxiety. Here's the thing. Um, Barca actually, I think they're capable of doing that because they're a big club. They're a big entity. They have assets they can leverage it to get money, and take care of the situation. But they have other issues beyond that. I don't think they have the luxury to sign too many players. I don't know. I just wish my friend, my friend Law is here. He can better explain. But I'm not too well acquainted with their situation at the point. Smash a like on them, people, and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. The likes do go a long way. Soon also, do you see? Please don't cause trouble here. I'm not gonna promise anything in Spanish until I until I get a Spanish presenter.
Nice one,
But
Dan.
yeah, Terrence Steves, just let's move on from he's really annoying me. And if at one point, if any moderator goes too annoyed with his behavior, just ban him. If Chelsea needs a centre back, a first player, I will take his Declan Rice. But for midfield, no way. It could be great. It could be great balance with Badiashile and Rice. Wow, I think Eugene sees football differently, and I think that's a solid argument. Um, so here's the thing: I'm not pushing against Chelsea signing Declan Rice too much because I understand he can, he can fulfill the CP role effectively. So to me, if we sign him, practically signing, getting two products for the price of one, if that makes sense. And he's again as a DM when we need the DM just to get the job done. Just sit there, don't worry about the attack. I think he gets it done for us. But I need.
And
Uh,
and coach,
yeah, go ahead.
don't forget, coach. Poch prefers a player in midfield that without possession, that DM also with possession that central midfielder number 6,
Mhm.
he will go into a back three, and I think Rice fits that identity to a T. So
Mhm.
this is the prototypical person that Poch would want in midfield as a holding midfielder. He's the perfect fit for him, and I'm trying to think who's the other chap, Ethan Ampadu, someone of that ilk, that played both in midfield and centre back. These are the two gentlemen that I think Poch would be looking for.
Yep, let's see what Poch does. AS people, keep dropping the likes on the stream. We have 74 likes, 26 more to get it to 100, and let's make it happen. And yes, damage to the like button, people, and subscribe if you're new here. Thank you for saying that, Chelsea, all the way. And my bro, PD Blue, this is the first time I'm seeing you here. I appreciate you. I appreciate all the support on Instagram. Much love to you. Thank you so much. And I actually immediately made you a moderator the moment I saw you. And hopefully I haven't done that to the wrong PD Blue, but I think it's you. Just stopping over to support you, bro. So thank you so much. Kante should be given a new contract just for his nice smile. I think he's such a nice guy, really. That smile, wow. And I don't want to go into details why the smile stands out even more. But that's, by the way, I agree, JC, and I'm sure I painted a picture that will probably help you to think of what I have in mind. They're having a conversation here, so I'm going to move on. At 70%, Kante is still one of our best players. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Here, like Roger would say, and like we're in the parliament. Southampton is regulated, what? Oh, okay. Your phone is helping you spell. So Southampton is relegated, and I think adding what prowess to the Chelsea squad would be something different instead of us being one-dimensional. Plus, he scores set pieces. But I think, if anything, the first priority from Southampton will most likely be Romeo Lavia, if that makes sense. Keep dropping the likes on the stream, people. The likes do go a long way. Tamida, let me see what you have there. Tamida, that Italian guy has one more chance. He's removed completely. Please, let's do that if he doesn't respect himself. Let's see what else we have here. We can get Casado, Kone, Polinha, and Orate for 170 million instead of 120 million for Rice alone. That's a midfield set for at least 10 years. Get back at least 100 million from selling coverages. Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Mount. Maybe, but let's see. But those players you mentioned, I don't think they come that cheap. It's going to be all put together will be expensive purchase, if that makes sense. So, apologies, guys. We're done now. I'm going to get to the very bottom so that we can start the lineup building exercise. Let me read what this bro has to say here. Completely surprised by those speaking ill of Kante, the midfield maestro, midfield general, midfield field marshal. Keep going. Our midfield is porous without him. Even if he starts in the number 9 position, he'll still be the most effective defensively. And that's one thing about him. And I think Kante will be even more effective if we can start using him sparingly and charge him not to run too much. But the question remains, will he still be as effective as he's been if he doesn't run that much? He prefers, because this was sports squad, and in PSG had lazy players in attack. Chelsea is different. Wow. I'm liking Eugene today. Speaking facts and not attacking anybody. 4-2-3-1 is Sports' signature. Yep, that's the truth. So we can analyze accordingly. Mainly, but he does switch it up every now and then, but not too many times. But primarily, we can expect him to always go with a 4-2-3-1 approach. I cannot help but to dread at the thought of having two DMs, both below 25 years old, worth around 300 million, Rice and Enzo. It would be suspended, but Rice actually, from what I'm hearing, what to believe what's in the media, will most likely go to Arsenal. I don't know, and if we're not too serious, about him, we may well just let him go. But I don't know if we're too serious about it. There's no way telling what the club wants to do. After all, we've been talking about Rice for the past 3 years or so. Keep dropping the likes on the stream and also do subscribe to the channel if you haven't. We need 24 more likes to get it to 100. Remember, we're shooting for 200 today, and let's make it happen, people. We're not going to sign Rice for 120 million. I don't think Rice will be going for that price at this point. Doesn't make any sense without financial situation. I agree with you, but I don't think Rice will be that expensive. I don't think Rice will go for anything close to 17 million. That's me. Remember, I told you that. But let's see what happens. When Kante came back from injury and got the man of the match performance after being out for so long, earn him the untouchable. And plus, he's one of the only Chelsea players I've seen, few Chelsea players that I've seen, played only 15 minutes or so, or less than 15 minutes, and still one of man of the match. He is that good, and we all know he is. Roger, something for you. Roger, you know Eugene don't rate Ethan Ampadu. I asked him this yesterday, but this clearly says something, given that Ampadu isn't an English. Oh my goodness! But I love Eugene. On a good day, he understands football quite well. On a good day, he speaks fast. Um, Edison Alvarez will be a good fit as well. Maybe not under Pochettino, but I liked him. We went in for him, and Ajax refused to sell because they had already sold Anthony, I think, in the same window, and they didn't want to sell him. They kept him, and I don't think if he signed a new contract. I'm not sure. The rumors were that we were going to go back for him, probably because Tuchel he isn't here anymore. We didn't go back for Edson Alvarez. You're talking about the Mexican, the Ajax guy. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think that's the guy. Let's see what we have here. Um, okay, Roger. I thought Poch was more of a 4-2-3-1. Yeah, he is. Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
think Roger agrees.
no,
Yeah,
no,
he just
he is,
he,
but this is
if
what
he switch.
happened.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so what basically will transpire with the 4-2-3-1 is if we lose the ball in transition, that one of the midfielders,
Or
like
even
a
in a
right,
hybrid approach.
yeah, he'll basically drop back into a three, and the two centre backs will go out wide to compensate for the right back and the left back being too far up in advance. So that's what he does in transition, and so the person like a Rice that has played centre back before, this will suit the personality of basically hedging a fast break. So it's more of it's definitely a hybrid, but it's more in transition when caught, so it prevents us being scored on. You know, so that's what I saw a video about it where they broke down Pochettino, what he does generally speaking, and that's why I think Rice will suit Poch's eye very much. But economics plays a part in that, obviously.
Yeah,
Can
thank you
I
so much,
add
Rob.
something since
Hmm.
I
We
know
often forget about you,
Chris
even though
started
Roger is
ignoring me
here,
now?
we still deliberately left you out. Go ahead.
I know when you want to just ignore me, but and I just thought I'll say something quickly because I might have
Hmm.
to run out and run back in. I have some meetings coming up,
Yeah,
but
shoot
I
for it.
just want to add to what
Don't
Roger said about
don't pull a
the.
hamstring, mate.
I just want to add to what Roger said about the profile of
Yeah, right.
CDM. All this talk about Declan Rice and 300K a week and yada, yada, yada. Is it true? Is it not? Well, probably. Will Arsenal pay that? They kind of tend to pay large wages for players they want. I don't think they have a particular wage structure if we take Ozil into consideration. And I think they've had a couple of other sort of big earners. Some have worked, some have hadn't. I think Aubameyang, when he was there, was a big earner as well. Look, I think with the club trying to control its wages, we have to have a look at Ampadu. Now,
Yes.
Ampadu, in terms of, I think he's in Italy now. He's played in the Premier League, sadly, with Sheffield United when they were a disaster, really.
They
And
ended up
he was
confusing him even more by playing him in every position.
Yeah, I mean, he played centre back, he played CDM there. Then he's had a couple of other loans. He's gone to Italy. He's played in the World Cup. He's played for Wales, and he didn't do too badly. Now, can Poch use him? I think Poch needs to have a good look at him because he's going to save the club some money. If he is the player I hope he is, and if he's the player I'd like to think he is, the times I've watched Ampadu, he's not done badly at all when he's surrounded by better players. Even when he played in last year's somewhat patchy pre-season, he didn't look bad. So putting him in a proper pre-season, he could well be the answer. Physically, he's capable. He's not a slouch. He's young. He's in that age of range that Pochettino likes. He's not particularly injury prone. Um, he has Chelsea in his heart. I think we could do a lot worse. I think he could be one of those surprises. You know, the CDM, you don't have to be world class, as it were. You just have to be efficient. And he can be that. So
Hey,
I
Bobby,
think
do you ever watch Wales play when he plays in the midfield?
I have, yes. And
Yeah,
he's not done badly, has he? I
yeah.
mean,
He
he's
he
been
keeps
okay.
he plays the ball on the carpet very well going forward. Have you
Yeah.
noticed that? Yeah.
Yeah, and defensively
So,
he's
so
okay.
Roger, I'm actually influencing the language you use these days. I like it.
Me no English.
So, so I think he could be one to watch in pre-season. I
Yeah.
really do, and it will be interesting if the club decide not to get a CDM and use him. It's probably going to be because he's proved himself.
I think we'll see a lot of surprises. Much like to give the youth a chance, and I think we'll see a few surprises here and there, but I'm not sure where. I'm not going to be too certain. Let's check it. Let's check Amper's. Well, I think when we get to the, we haven't considered him for the keep or sell exercise. But let me get what we have in the test, so we'll go into the exercise in a bit. And Eric Cantona would have been a great addition, but he is now an actor. He's now an actor since Bali loves to sign every single player. Oh my goodness. Temidayo, ouch. Okay, people acting like Pochettino will never change his formation until the end of the season. I get where you're coming from with that report. That's not what we're saying. But predominantly, it will be more, I don't know. There's a chance. For instance, Tuchel wasn't the biggest user of three at the back approach, but he did that at Chelsea because he realized those players, that's what they're used to, mainly. We have to build a solid midfield going forward. If not, we're still going to struggle. Yeah, we need to sort things out in the midfield area and everywhere else. Yes, let's see what else we have here. Sorry, the highlight screen is starting to slow down even more, and that doesn't help. Um, Missouri also went to the media against CT. But Logitech, I respect and I love you so much. The distraction doesn't really help. As much as I like to interact with everybody in the chat, same thing with Lukaku and the others. Here's the thing: I've moved on from Thomas Tuchel really, and I hope you do. I get it. He's not perfect. And I think that's the case you're actually trying to present there. But let's move on from him really. Yeah. My goodness, the screen. There's so much in the chat now. I can't highlight it properly. Trust me, he will have if there's a chance. What else do we have here? I don't like what's going on with the highlight screen. It's really slow. Keep dropping the likes on the stream. We're 86 likes. Yeah, 14 more to get it to 100. Let's make it happen. Thank you so much for all the support. Let me see what I can do. Yeah, this window will be better. I'm not sure. There isn't too much in the chat now, but because it's slow, it may well make it difficult. West Ham are not going to sell rights for anything less than 90 million. Okay, I heard that. Then they may as well keep them because I wouldn't want my club to pay anything north of even 70 million for rights. Really, West Ham up. I've read that. And Thomas Pace says uh, he's speaking Spanish. Look what you guys have done here. I can't highlight my screen. This is annoying, really. And I have comments to catch up with here right now. So I'm going to try to see if the other screen works. Chelsea need a solid, a strong defensive midfielder. Dixon Donald, I agree with you. And here's the link to our sister channel here, Soccer Perspective. There, we'll cover every club, not just Chelsea Football Club. And whenever I'm on the panel, I try as much as I can not to be biased because I'm a Chelsea fan. But we're still looking for more, to have more panelists available for that particular channel. Subscribe to our Soccer Perspective. That's our sister channel. And even if you're a Chelsea fan, please do that to help that particular channel grow. And this says, so basically, Roger, you have prepared well with your homework on post time. I can still debate for keeping cover though. Here's the thing. I think the thinking cover could have been he could have been a perfect player for Poch because that reminds me of Musa. Is it Musa Dembele under Pochettino?
Mm. I
Yeah,
liked him a lot.
I like Musa Dembele. He's one
Yeah.
player. Musa Dembele was one player I wanted Chelsea to sign, but we didn't sign him then.
Yeah, likewise.
He was excellent under Pochettino. I think Kovacic reminds me of him. I think, but Kovacic, for reasons we've discussed, him wanting a fresh challenge, and the fact that he has just 2 years left on his contract, there's a chance he stays. I have to say, he still have 2 years, but I don't think the club will risk too much. He's one player that if he has just a year left on his contract, then there will be lots of clubs vying for his signature. I don't think they want to risk that. This says, sorry, people in the chat. My screen is a bit too slow, and it doesn't help. I'm seeing DJ Sab's comment, but this isn't highlighted. It isn't switching quickly. I've switched for like 10 years ago, and it's just showing now. 90 million plus 300K a week per week to Arsenal. Uh, they pay a lot. I think they pay salary like Manchester United. You could argue that.
Really?
My God, sometimes it's better not to hear what people are talking about. Maybe if it's gonna get you to go to lead to us seeing the other side of Eugene Naughty, maybe we should move on. Good day, my beautiful Chelsea family, and I'm sure that response probably most likely because of the Ampadu comment from Bobby. Good day to you too, John Potts Entertainment. I hope you're doing well. Thank you for finding the time to join the show. Sincerely do appreciate that. What else do we have here? Roger, were you saying something?
No.
Okay. Um, this is oh my goodness. I'm looking at quite a lot of comments there, but it's not helping. The page is still again the highlights system is slow. Coach, one DM isn't enough going forward. Urate and Palinha will cost 80 million. Casado 17 million. Kone 25 million, which is equals to which equals 175 million. 100 for cover. RRC Mount equals to 75 million. Equals 75 million net spend would be overall. Okay, get a striker and sell more players. Okay, like I've always said, let's see what the club does. What do we have here? This is not helping me. Comment section, have you got nothing to say? You, I'm sure that comment from Eugene was most likely directed at the panelists that spoke about Ampadu. But yeah, to me, I think Ampadu is a good player, but I'm not sure what's going to happen. He's still young, very young. Big up Kuchila, big up to you, to everyone in on the stream. Just got here. What's today's debate? Who's slaying SmackDown today? We're currently talking about the Rate, and we're gonna move on to the tier list exercise. But always nice to see you, DJ. I hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for finding the time to join the show. Ampadu needs to stay at least for preseason and see how he does. I hope he gets a chance. That's just me, but it's up to the manager to decide what players he wants to keep and what players he wants to move on. So, Roger, I think we should get to work in a bit. Roger, do you see Poch winning a Premier League or a Champions League in his the 3-year contract we're hearing that he's going to put pen to paper for? So, Roger, if you can respond to that, you go ahead so we move on to the exercise as soon as possible.
Did you say the first year or within his first term of contract?
It's on the screen. That's his overall contract length, I think is mentioned in there.
I mean, it's possible. I'm not saying it's not possible. Listen, the Champions League, we are fundamentally, we're really well built for cup competition. We're a knockout, squad. We have depth in that regard. We've been successful, especially under Tuchel. 6 out of 7 cup competitions, we made it to the final, all but one, and we made it to the quarterfinal, knocked out by Real Madrid. So what does that tell you? And two out of the three we lost on penalties. So in that regard, we're built for the most part for cup competition. So, if we make top four and get in there, yeah, I think the league's going to be harder because you have teams like Newcastle that could potentially make a run. Arsenal obviously back up there. It seems Man United could be definitely in the equation next year. If this is not a one or a two team league, even though Man City have dominated it, but they've won two out of their five titles by 1 point, and that was, what was it? Liverpool had 97 points and came second. So, Liverpool could very easily bounce back next year. I'm not sure they have the funds though, but they very well could with such a great squad. That are just only getting better gelling, and obviously a world-class manager. So winning the Premier League in the next 3 years, I wouldn't bet your house on it, but I wouldn't bet us. I would say it's much harder to win the Premier League than it would be to win the Champions League, to be honest with you.
Yeah, and Chun says our squad needs a greater physical strength throughout our lines. Bobby will buy you a drink if he gets to meet you, and I think that's the truth. We need better balance. We don't have that right now. But what? No, please let bygone be bygone. As regards that, we need original inbuilt passion for that role, not some a try by error. Ifan is a good player, but definitely not on this matter. What a way to end it. So I'm not sure what you want. To say that Chelsea doesn't need a world-class player on some positions is stupid. Who said that? And I don't think you don't have to say somebody's stupid, really. What else do we have lined up here? I'm going to skip quite a lot now to get to the very bottom, so we get to the the tier list exercise. Every position must be covered by world-class player or even elite if possible. I agree with you. I think we don't need a mix of mediocre or anything, but you can sometimes accommodate potential. Maybe that's the way to put it. World-class potentials or elite potentials. Okay, there you go. The next comment clarifies that. Coach Kante contract is expiring this summer. So how can we be more worried with Kova expiring next summer? Because Kova, he hasn't come out and said he doesn't want to leave. If anything, we've heard that he's looking for a fresh challenge, and that started again actually 3 months ago or so. And the club is not they're not too intent to keep on keeping him. If that's his case is actually unique. I don't think it compares with that of Kante, Kante's situation, if that makes sense. But I get your argument. Let's see. I would take Orate as an alternative if we cannot get Lavia Rice, coach. A lot of us, to me, he's a good alternative. But we're going to move on now. My bro, big up to you, Santiago Muno. Always nice to see you. And everyone is in the chat. Sorry, I can't get everything. As much as I like to interact with you, sometimes I have to skip quite a lot. Otherwise, that's the only thing we do for the rest of the day. I get it. But I just can't read everything in the chat. Sorry about that. So let's move on. If Arsenal wants Declan Rice, he is a 40 million. But if Chelsea wants Declan Rice, he's 100 million. Wow. I'm not sure what to make of that argument right there. So Roger, let's get to work. I'm gonna start you off by asking you, and soon people, we have 91 likes, 9 more to get it to 100. Let's make that happen. And shoot for 200. The aim is to get to 200 likes a day. So Roger, let's get to work. I'm gonna start you with the next player. You present your argument why you think what you think the club should do with the player in question. And remember, here's the plan. We will do it even if we end up having more than 30 players. Then we'll come back to it and say, okay, let's get it down to 25 and look who else goes out. So nothing is final now. And after that, we'll go straight to building Chelsea's best 11 for 23-24 with the players we know we have available. And then in the summer, the moment the transfer window opens, then we can start, making adjustments to the lineup. So I'm going to try. Let's see if this opens. One more item, just quickly. I want to get Roger's opinion on that particular item before we move on. But my screen, for some reason, isn't paying attention, um, isn't responding effectively or as it should. Roger, what I wanted us to talk about is, you could say, the back and forth between Nagelsmann camp and Chelsea Football Club. It is the analogy I used before. Is that sort of situation where, look, why are you telling people you broke up with me? No, I was the one that broke up with you. It's not. It's hilarious, really. What do you make of it? I don't know if you've heard anything with regards to that.
I actually haven't, but that's a good analogy. It's
Yeah,
not me, it's you.
yeah.
Um,
It's just hilarious, really. If anything, I'm learning from it that Nagelsmann, I think he's still acting like a kid. They don't
well,
necessarily have to come talk about how Nagelsmann didn't join Chelsea because Chelsea right now is in turmoil and spending money and buying too many players. To me, if anything, I would say he.
hello, coach. Anybody there? Hello? Bobby, you there? Coach? Earth calling coach. Over. Houston, we have a problem. Bobby, can you hear me? I'm not sure if this it's gone dead on my end. Not sure if it's me or if it's coach. It looks like coach got rebooted. Okay, you can hear me. Thanks, JC. Yeah, yeah, I get user error, I believe, coach. That's the term. No, I'm just kidding. So, yeah, what can I say? Um, going forward, with regards to Nagelsmann, coach, I think that's just poppycock. I don't know whether that's just posturing or whatever. I'm really not concerned. We have a manager going forward. I get the feeling that Nagelsmann, listen, he was quite impressive for Bayern, but I think he's going to be an elite coach in the future if he stays mature and carries on with his career. It seems like he's very well respected in Germany, but perhaps he will be a future coach of ours. I really respect German coaches, so I don't know. Coach, are you back? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm going to use this for a while until the main screen comes up. I'm not sure why in the middle of a show Firefox started updating. That's hilarious.
Yeah, coach.
Yeah.
There's no more static on the line, so I think you were getting like electromagnetic interference or something because you had a device that is close to one of your, whether it's a router or something close to your mic, and so I don't know. I'm just assuming that. So
Yeah, that may well have been the case, but you go ahead.
no, sure. So I just spoke about Nagelsmann briefly while you were on vacation there. Send me a postcard.
Okay, Rosa.
Sorry.
Yeah. Well, go ahead, brother. Go ahead. I was asking you what you make of the back and forth from Nagelsmann's camp with Chelsea's camp. It's more like children, really.
Yeah, it's immature, it's posturing, whatever. Listen, as I was saying, I think I respect him, and I think he's really well respected in Germany. But listen, that Bayern Munich, that executive board, that's a toxic environment, I believe, there right now. I think they have people running that place that just because they were great players doesn't mean they're. I have issues with some of them, and you know what? They're very. How shall I put this politely? They have a posture about them, somewhat arrogant, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And so, listen, I respect Nagelsmann. I don't know much about him, but I know he did quite well, especially in the Champions League. He won every single game, so I think he has a bright future ahead of him. And as I was saying, before that I respect German coaches immensely. They produce some great players and coaches especially. So I think he has a bright future. I really do. I'm not sure about this back and forth. It's not warranted. I say we move forward.
No, it's not. And to the extent of talking how bad things are at Chelsea, and maybe you could say maybe his agent is it should be around 18, 20 years, maybe. That's where you get so it's absolute nonsense. It just doesn't make any sort of sense. I've lost respect for him, and honestly, in my argument, I would say he actually, wasn't too sure of himself, doing well with the squad we had. That's how I'm going to see it. I hate it when people disrespect my club like that. And one player I was going to bring to mind, and I'm going to start using the polling a bit. You guys just give me time so that the main screen can show. So we have where hopefully we don't have to redo everything. I hope that's not the case. The main screen shows, then we get back to work. Let me see.
Are you running a PC platform, Coach?
Yeah, it's a PC. Yeah, I'm not a Mac person. Yeah, and this
Coach
is not up to 4 months right now.
Come to the dark side, Coach.
Yeah, so I can get you to talk about so this year we lose J5 and Kovacic. I honestly, one of the reasons why I was I wasn't on the side of Kovacic leaving, but even though I think he's an excellent player, and unfortunately for him, lots of people don't understand what he brings to the table as a player. I think we don't want to lose too many experienced players. I don't know if you can speak on that, Roger. Let me find a solution to what's going on with my screen now.
Yeah. Listen. I would hate to think that we lose Kante for sure, because I believe, regardless of his position, he's our best player, hands down, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. So it would be. Listen, I understand people have concerns over his injuries, and we discussed this earlier in the show. But to me, he's a difference maker. You can see that just by the fact when he's not on the pitch. We are, for all intents and purposes, a different team. We're night and day, chalk and cheese. And I don't think he played a minute under Potter, did he?
Who? Kante?
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Not even 1 minute. And therefore, my client is persecuted as such. No, just kidding. Flashbacks. But no, listen, Kante, we have to keep him. We really do. I think, to me, that's our top priority. Just my opinion. Kova, I have mixed feelings about Kova because I like him so much. But as I said yesterday, with regards to end product, the lack of assists and obviously the lack of goals he scores, it is a factor. But then again, there's more to the game than that. Many people have different roles within the team. You can't have 11 Messis on the field, so to speak. So I believe he brings more than just so there's statics back, Coach, massively.
So I think I know where that's coming from now, but go ahead, Roger.
Okay, so I believe, even though you have the discussion. Listen, not everyone can be a Lampard, knocking 20 goals a season, 5 consecutive years from the midfield, mind you, from the bloody midfield. When I look at his stats, that it still blows my mind. He's such a prolific scorer, and for box to box, he's great. But then again, look at Kante. Kante is not a prolific provider in assists or goals, but he does so much more, So I'm still. I would prefer to keep Kova, but then again, part of me says, well, because what I see a lot of the argument lately is we need people that provide assists and even goals from the midfield, and we do. We need a better supply chain from the midfield as opposed to on the wings, which we discuss weekly. I get that, but Kova brings a lot more, and his composed experience and what he does on the ball when he's pressed, etc. Yes, he has some flaws, shall we say? That may be too strong a term. Some deficiencies, perhaps, but I think you can say that about every single midfielder we have, including Kante. Kante is not perfect, But what he does do is unique, and I think he's, for the most part, the only person that does it well in the world in which how he does it. You know, the way he reads the game, the way he covers the field, the way he tackles. He's the proverbial vacuum cleaner for Chelsea. And so, you know, maybe we're
Just
being...
quickly, Roger, can you still hear the static sound?
Yeah, it's bad. No, I'm kidding. It's good. It's fine. It's gone.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so maybe we have to temper our expectations because, listen, we have been sport historically in the past. Where we've had some amazing midfielders. You know, who was the Spaniard? I forgot, that came from Arsenal. I can see his face. That was a great assist. He was just very technical. Not blessed with played with Frank and so forth. Not blessed with much physical ability, but he was a great. It came from Barcelona, and then he went to Barcelona afterwards. Oh my God, I've gone brain dead. I apologize.
Came from where?
So he came from Arsenal. He was an Arsenal prodigy at like 17 or whatever. Midfielder. About 10 years ago. One of our best midfielders ever. Sorry, I've gone brain dead. But anyway,
Fabregas?
Yeah, Fabregas. So you have Fabregas, but then again, look at his deficiencies. You know, let's play Frank. You know, Frank was prolific, but you know, true, he was pretty good all rounder, but he wasn't a great defensive midfielder. But that's what he wasn't there for. So, you know, we're looking for that is the prototypical defensive player that can assist, that can score 44 goals a season. You know, it's like I think we really. To me personally, I think we need a really solid defensive midfielder. You know, a solid that can protect the back 3 or 4 or however many it is. I think with that, you know, with that kind of player that will just shut down the midfield, you know, I think the rest will fall into place. That's the spine of the team. If you have a solid keeper, at least one solid centre back and a solid centre holding midfielder and a solid number 9. That's the spine, right down the middle. Then, you know, all the rest is miscellaneous for the most part. The rest will fall into place. And do we have a solid number 9? No. Do we have a solid midfielder? No. Centre backs, I think we're blessed with them and we're really happy, but not for long. Because of Silva's there, but goalkeeper, I still think both of our goalkeepers, we can win any competition with them, whether that be Premier League, whether that be any silverware with them, either Kepa or Mendy on form, they're good enough to win. If the rest of the spine is solid, and that's what we're lacking, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Last show we dropped cover out, and because we didn't involve those in the chat, we analyzed his situation, given that he wants to leave, and the fact that he has just 2 years left on his contract, and from what we're hearing, recent reports.
Oh, is it 2 years or 1 year?
2. He has 2, but as this is in his end, then you could say just one plum, a few months, around 16 months or so, a little more. So it's a risk for the club, and I don't think they'd risk that much. So we're gonna involve those in the chat and
Coach,
get their opinion.
Coach,
yeah.
Do you think? Okay, I beg your pardon. Excuse me, sir. So at the beginning, when the season next year starts, do you think Kova's in the squad? I think he is.
If he's gonna leave, he's gonna leave in the summer transfer window.
But if you percentage-wise, does at the beginning
and
of
and
season,
usually summer transfer window in most cases isn't it still on while the league is on already? I don't remember how it works.
Yeah. So okay, come this Christmas, do you think Kova is still in the team, in the squad?
I'm not sure really. I'm not sure.
I have a feeling he is. I believe, because I don't think we can afford to. He's the type of person that I believe that he's good enough to be in our squad as at least a very minimum rotational player. And B, I think we're going to be strapped financially if we're going after number 9 and another midfielder. They don't come cheap. So that's why I think part of the equation is economics. because we're not in Europe next year. That's my logic. That doesn't mean anything, though.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. I think JC is just in the chat accusing me of something. More importantly, the more you can say, the contract isn't actually the biggest issue. The biggest issue is the fact that he wants to leave. That's what we're meant to believe. I hope he stays.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just responding to JC's argument that I don't know that I'm like so much emphasis with regards to his contract. No, that's the list of my concerns. Actually, the fact is that he wants to leave. That's when I give up. Kova is one player. I actually did a Twitter thread. I think so. With giving reasons why the club should keep him. And like the Bluetooth again is saying in the chat, he's the only player that plays. That's keep. Look at that squad now. Not too many players are able to find the solutions in tight spaces, but that's Kovacic. Yeah. Kovacic is the only player that ensures we play when we play against teams that that press us aggressively or defend deep. Just him. Not too many players in our teams. That I want him to stay, but I'm just trying to be as sensible as possible. But to me, if he really wants to leave, as the reports suggest, then the club will have no option to sell him in the summer when they can get a sizable fee from his sale, rather than leaving when he has just a year. He'd have just a year left in his contract, and that's what the reports suggest.
Yeah. No, I get it. But coach, there's one thing as an organization we can prevent. We have the say as to who we can sell him to, and we cannot afford to sell him to City, in my opinion.
That's one thing I don't want to happen.
Yeah,
because he will make him even more fearsome, really.
Yeah, he will excel there, in my opinion.
Yeah. But a lot of people are missing. I'm not sure what else. I liked a lot of what I saw in the chat when my camera went off. It was hilarious. If Poch cannot win nothing, Nagelsmann will be our coach in the future. What do you say?
But who's this to City?
What?
I didn't hear that. Kova. We don't want Kova going to City.
No, we don't want him to go to City. Hate him or love him, he's going to make them something special. Go ahead, Roger.
He can go if they give us Julian Alvarez.
Bobby,
I'm waiting. I'm
waiting for the disclaimer. Bobby, you're drinking.
I'm waiting for Bobby's disclaimer.
Well, I keep saying we should go for Julian Alvarez. I think we should make that bid because don't ask, don't get. That guy's not happy there. He's not happy.
Really?
And if Chelsea come, no, he's not. If Chelsea give him a deal, let him know he's going to be number one, he'll start kicking off at City. The only reason he hasn't done that yet is nobody's really come for him yet. They're scared because
how much can we get him for?
Well, this is the thing. He's signed a new contract, so he's going to be over 100 for sure.
Oh, that's
but if we're going to spend that on Osimhen, I think he's a better option for us than Osimhen, to be honest.
Do you really?
Yeah.
All right, let's get on with the exercise. We don't have too much time, really. We'll spend it.
Oh, coach! Every time I talk about a topic, you tell me.
No, Bobby, you've made your point, but we have about not less than an hour to round off, which means we're not going to even finish today.
Look at that! I left my meeting just to come and join you.
No, but go ahead. I'll let you drop. Go ahead, Bobby.
No, I'm done.
He's messing with you, coach.
He's mad now.
No, I'm not done. I'm not angry. I'm just. I'm done. Seriously, I've made my point.
Okay. All right. Thank you. With the signings of Real Madrid making in the summer, I have a feeling Nagelsmann is going there in place of Carlo. I think that's speculation. I don't think he goes to Real Madrid, but let's see what happens. Anything else? I'm going to scroll to the very bottom. Quite a lot to catch up with. I think they're going to fear his behavior because he fell out with the Bayern hierarchy. And look at his behavior in the media regarding how his reported move to Chelsea fell through and all that. More childlike.
He seems like a very difficult person, that Nagelsmann.
Yeah, that's what I'm learning. Yeah,
and his agent.
Yeah.
He's young though. That's another thing.
Yeah, he's still very young. But some people, there are some people that are at his age that still behave better than him. So this year we lose cover. I think we've read that, but I wasn't able to highlight it at that point. They're talking about Real Madrid midfield. Roger, didn't you say back in the days that cover is predictable in the in the final third? I think if Roger said that it would be with regards to his finishing ability or chance creation and all that.
I don't know about predictable. I just think he lacks his stats for, shall we say,
He's
assists, and
poor.
definitely,
He's poor there, very poor.
yeah.
That is a massive weakness in his game.
Yeah.
Final third.
And the fact that, his shots, just his shots alone, he doesn't even hit the target, not even close to it. That's what amazes me. He's such a technical player, but yet to not even test the keeper most of the time, I find incredulous, to be honest with you. And I really rate him highly. But the fact that, I don't know, maybe he tries to put too much power in the shot, but it's woeful, his attempts on goal. But when he does score, they're worldies, but there's so few and far between.
Yeah, that reminds me of Mikel, but that's by the way we move on from that.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see what else we have. I want to catch up with everything. I'm waiting for so far 24 votes. 58% says keep him, and 42% says sell. So let's see what happens in the beat. Coach, you need to ship some left backs from the table. Like I said, listen, let me explain again. And we only have how many left backs there? Only 2 left backs there. Okay, 3. You can say 3. Where are they? Yeah, 3. What's his name? Ian Matson, Marco Correa, and Ben Chilwell. And like I said, if we end the show, if we get the table filled, if we deal with everybody, then we'll come back to it and say, okay, we have too many of this. Then we'll take our time to analyze who makes way. It's as simple as that. Let's just simplify it right now, if you understand what I mean. Let's see what we have. Whereas we don't have enough legs in the middle, so why are we selling Kovacic? Because we're probably going to sign some. That's the argument. And nobody's saying anything we're saying here is what's going to happen at the club. It's a simple, whatever we do here today is based on opinions of many people. So that doesn't mean whatever we end up with here doesn't reflect what's going to happen. It's as simple as that. Yeah.
Do you know who would fit really well in our midfield though, and be
Who's that?
Defensively and offensively would be a great addition? Would be Reece. It would prevent him from going up and down the field like a yo-yo, which his position necessitates. And B, therefore it would elongate his career. B, he's a solid tackler. He's an amazing passer, and you know what his finishing is. I think he would excel in the midfield. I really do. At the price of, a right back. Obviously, Gusto would need a backup, but I think he should be tried in that in pre-season. I really do. It would save us so much money also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what I would say quickly about with regards to this comment, and after this, please, I'm going to scroll. Let me just, okay, a lot depends on the manager on how the structure and how they structure their team. Cover scores much more for Croatia. I agree with that, and controls tempo of games for Croatia.
Yeah, he does.
But at Chelsea, he has other attributes, so other stuff he's able to do for us that I like progressing the ball, no matter how you press him, no matter how many people you have in him, and his ability to find solutions in tight spaces. In terms of controlling the game, I haven't seen him do that at Chelsea, and I don't think it's something he's good at. But I still like him. But I have my reasons for arguing he's going to leave. But I'm not going to be going back and forth with regards to just Kova. Let those in the chat decide. 25 votes and 55% still thinks he stays. That's fine. Like I said, everything we're doing here is driven by opinion, especially these. They're driven by opinions. We bring in facts with regards to the length of their current contract and the contract situation and all that. But still, we end up deciding what we're not too sure the club are going to do. It's as simple as that. Let's see what we have here. Kova is the only player who can resist a press and beat a man. Kova can actually beat 2 players by just, where the direction he takes the ball to, which you don't see that. So he's an intelligent player overall. And I don't have a problem whether he scores goals or not. What he brings to the team does go along with. Yeah.
So, Coach, I just want to say something. If you rate our midfield compared to, I know it's the bellwether, it is the Yeah, it's the gold standard. If you look at compared to Real Madrid's midfield, 6 players, let's say 6. I mean, we pale in comparison, coach. We really need to improve the quality of our midfield.
Yeah, we do. We do. And just quickly, I think you misquote me quite a lot. Have you ever heard me argue about Mount saying he may well have to leave because they haven't come to an agreement with regards talking about the new contract format and all that? You heard me say that. And even in the case of Kante, at one point I thought he was going to leave, but from what we're hearing, he's close to signing a new contract. We've heard that. So I don't know. You're misquoting me, and it just looks like you and I are just going back and forth. We're not contributing to what we're doing here. And that's to me, I'm going to move on from that. You win. Kovacic stays. To me, I think he's going to leave, even though I want him to stay, and he's one of my favorite Chelsea players. If Chelsea decides to bring back Lukaku, then Martinez should come with him. They play so well together. They understand each other. Each other's game very well. Congrats to him for making it to the Champions League final. If he wins it, fine, and that will be good for us. But let's see what happens. What else do we have here? I think the same issue have started again. I think it's a browser. We need to sell players to be able to afford the new ones. I'm gonna go to the very bottom. With 1 year left on practically a year on Kovac's contract. I think he stays. Okay. I cannot see us selling him to Manchester City or United. These are the 2 clubs that want him unless they offer stupid money. And the fact that, yes, the one that's concerning to me, he wants to leave, according to reports. I hope he stays. Coach, all reasons I'm hearing are speculations generated like an excuse. Okay, fine. Let's see what happens. Yes, Bob, okay, I'm going to move to the very bottom, please. Let's get on with it. And I'll try to get your subsequent contributions. I get it quite a lot to read there, and I like interacting with you. But unfortunately, I can't get everything. Otherwise, that'd be the only thing we'll do for the day. Football is a team sport, and a player can perform the role he's asked to perform. The qualities of cover are undisputable. Most people don't see it like that. Most people just see that he doesn't create too many chances. He doesn't score too many goals. Apparently, his season is buried by Potter and his lawyers.
I'm a huge fan of Kova. I really am. So
I think his concern is the argument that he's going to leave. Coach, you and JC can settle it. No, I love JC. I think we both love Kovacic, but he doesn't like my argument or the reasons I'm giving. I'm mentioning that's going to cost him to leave during the transfer window. But let's see what happens. We have to move on. And get younger talents in the midfield. Wow, Keshawn, experience is important. Really, experience is very important. We have to mix it up. So I have to wait. Roger, you've made your argument. Let's see. I'm going to stop the poll now. But let me just let it run for a while. 57% still says thinks he's going to stay. Wow. Wow. That's a serious shot from this. That's a serious shot from JC. Coach, you have given speculations as arguments. I cannot debate. Remember, more importantly, I told you, if he's not going to sign a new contract, the club will end up selling him because they don't want to risk letting him live on the free. It's as simple as that. And please, let's stop the back and forth. It's not we're here to do an exercise, and we actually haven't done much. But I get it. You win. Yeah, I'm using speculations as an argument. Thank you. You win. You happy now? Are you going to leave me alone? Please leave me alone and go away. Roger, let's bring on Mount. I need your argument for Mount. That's why you think is what you think the club should do with him, or what do you think will happen, really?
It's so hard to, it's 50-50. There has to be compromise. It's that simple, I don't know whether it's over the actual fiscal amount or the length, the term of the contract. I have no idea. But I believe he will fit like a glove into Poch's system, his ethos, his philosophy. So he Mount is exactly what Poch is looking for: industry, production, end game, whatever, however you want to term it. He's the prototype. Him and Gallagher. I think that he likes players like that. You know. Question is, you know, did he get a representative, another agent other than his father, Tony? I don't know, but it all depends, Coach. It all depends. I hope Mount stays for multiple reasons, because he's homegrown, etc., and because he's a bridge to our academy, so to speak, as Bobby would say, and he's right about that. You know, the fans have to relate in the stadium, and they certainly relate with him. You know, our stadium is already, I would say, very poor in our support of the players on the field when you compare it to other teams. You know, like Liverpool's and City's and United's even. True, they have much bigger stadiums. I understand that. But I've been there at the Bridge versus Liverpool, and the Liverpool fans, they were a small percentage of the Bridge, and yet they were so loud. I mean, it was silent on our end. And that's so if you want the fans to be on our side, to be the 12th play, they need to relate to the team. And Mount is one of those relatable players. That's part of the equation, believe it or not. But what he does on the field is of paramount importance. And I think Chelsea should do all they can realistically to keep him. Obviously, if he's asking for the moon, then that's not attainable. But if it's somewhat, you know, reasonable, then I think we should acquiesce to a certain extent. That's my belief.
But you haven't said, what do you think will happen?
I think he stays because of Poch. I think Poch will persuade him. I think Poch will sit him down and say, we're going to build partially a team around you, however he wants to term it, you know, and just say, you will excel under me. He will persuade him. And I think there's a strong possibility. Having said that, we'll wake up tomorrow and hear that he signed with another team. So I don't know, Coach. I think
Yes, every time I discuss Mason Mount's case, I always say there's a chance this happened or the other happened.
Yeah, exactly.
You cannot come out. It wouldn't make sense. Even in the case Kovacic, it wouldn't make sense to say to come out and say 100% he leaves. That's why I use the language most likely, because anything can change anytime.
I can't read the future, but I think it would be in his best interest to stay. Maybe not financially, perhaps if he leaves on a free, that's part of the equation also. But
which is and how long does he have left? I think he has less than a year.
Yeah, no. Well, does he? I think he has 1 year at the end of this season. So
let me see. Go ahead with what you're saying.
But you know, who's to say?
I'm afraid to add to this in case Coach says I'm holding up the agenda. So.
Go ahead with what you were saying, Roger.
Go, Bobby. Speak.
No, I'm done. I said I was afraid to add to it in case Coach says I'm holding up the agenda.
Bobby, go for it. Drop. Go on.
No, I think you're right. I 100% concur. I think there's more to Mount staying than just his performances on the pitch. We need to have that Chelsea character left in the team, especially now that the new owners have stripped so much of that character away. And I think it's because of the preservation of people like Reece James and Chalobah and indeed Ruben and so on that Chelsea is what it is today.
They're intangibles, right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's difficult to really say what's going to happen in this case.
But you could basically.
I don't know if the reports are to be believed. Then you could argue he's more likely to leave, given the fact that they've been talking for a while now and still haven't come to an agreement. And the rumors suggest that his camp have already started talking with clubs. Plus, Liverpool are very keen on him. Plus, the relationship between his camp and the club's hierarchy is at an all-time low. If we're to believe all those reports, then he's more likely to leave. Plus, where I'm usually most like the one aspect that I'm more concerned about the new contract format may well be an issue, not the length, because we cannot do give lengthy contracts anymore. I think because they've changed the rules. After that, how we were able to exploit the loophole then.
That's a
I
huge
don't think the
factor,
length
isn't
will
it?
be an issue. I think there are other aspects of it that may well be an issue for him. I don't know. I'm not too sure what's going to happen, but we're
Honestly,
not just.
coach,
Yeah, go ahead.
honestly, I think it's a case of tossing a coin. I really do. But you're right, though. The new format structure, I think it's a negative for him in that regard. It doesn't bode well in that regard. They may have to bend over backwards to keep him. But is he a player worth doing that? I mean, he's a Marmite player. You either love him or hate him. So I say
To be
we
honest,
keep him.
Mount is very important to the club, but nobody is indispensable. I think
Right.
if his demands are unreasonably high, you have to consider the impact on the entirety of the squad.
Exactly.
And I think if he's asking for something that completely damages the wage structure of everybody, then we have to part with him, bearing
Yes.
him, and make sure that we compensate by bringing in some other players that are probably equally as good or better. I think on the playing side, Mount is very replaceable, despite all his attributes. But it's the off-field side that it's very important. But look, you can't hold. Nobody's bigger than Chelsea. Nobody. I think that should be made very
No,
clear.
it doesn't matter who you are, right? Yeah, right. I think that's
Exactly.
a good comment right there. Kovacic can be always be a backup. We don't necessarily need it to sell if he doesn't want to leave. But we've been hearing from very good sources for a while now that he wants to leave. He wants a fresh start, and he's a good player. And I get it, but I don't think Kovacic will accept being, just a squad player. I don't think so. That's how I see it. But
He's already more or less a squad player. He's been injured a lot of the time.
yeah, you could. That's a solid argument on its own. Yeah, but we're not sure what's going to happen. Keep dropping the likes, people. 106 likes. Let's see if we can get it to 200. I doubt that's going to happen, but 100 plus. I think that's huge. Mount Roger, please approach the benches. I hope you've been listening. Our team now just needs a striker and a midfielder like Costa, a midfielder like Costa and Cesc. Sell all these deadwoods. We are Chelsea, and we don't have a patience. Wow. Let's see. Mount is salvageable. There's still potential in him. That's one of my biggest arguments. I usually hate. I get into the argument whether he stays or not. I'd rather I prefer talking about who can help him get to the heights we know he's capable of reaching, because there's more to Mount than most people know. But unfortunately, the fans, the managers usually don't look beyond Mount's industry on the pitch. That's just a problem. Even when he does something nice, people don't look beyond his industry and commitments. That's all they see. And that's an issue. I'd rather, if we can get, I think a manager like Poch, if he ends up staying, I think we'll see a different Mount. It won't be all about running on the pitch and pressing. We can still we'll start seeing that the guy is actually more technically gifted than he's expressed himself. We've seen from how he expresses himself. We've only seen flashes of that brilliance from him, but not consistently. That's because the managers want him to run like a machine throughout 90 minutes plus, and especially under Thomas Tuchel until he got mentally tired. Roger, you sounded like you wanted to say something.
Yeah, I think the key
I have to drop a second and maybe try and come back.
All right.
I think the key to Mount staying is Poch, in my opinion. That's all I have to say. If he does indeed stay, it's probably going to be down to Poch and what he says to him, what he has to offer to him going forward. That's all I think. If he does indeed stay, that's a big if.
Mm-hmm. And for the poll, it is 50-50 right now. 50% want the club to keep Cover and Cover, and 50% want the club to sell Cover. Maybe I'll give it a bit of time. I think we use the poll too for the case of Mount. If it's just me, in my opinion, I will keep Mount in probably the sell option because I feel like he'll most likely leave. Because here's the thing, I get it. He means more. Just like there was a time that was, you could argue the same for Christian Pulisic, but right now you could say the new owners, they don't care much about his value off the pitch that much. I think they want more from him, and it's like they don't believe they can get that from him. I think Mount is valuable on and off the pitch just as much as even more than Christian Pulisic, you could argue. But beyond that, there are other issues. If the salary, if the wages again, if that's where if the salary is the issue, and you end up giving him something different, you could set the precedent that will cause get other players to start being grumbling or not happy. What do you think, Roger?
No, I think that's a huge factor. I mean, he doesn't necessitate that kind of exception. He's not a Messi. Does that make sense? You usually only do that. Listen, he cannot, as Bobby said, he cannot be detrimental to the fiscal philosophy of the team going forward. You just can't. Otherwise, the mold is broken, as they say.
Yeah, I'm going to give the Covers poll a bit of time. 51% now wants him sold. Yeah, but Declan Rice, it should be the target if Chelsea want to sign midfielder. He is a leader and can score from midfield. We need a more captain, more leadership, players who can lead in the team. What happened to Mount's form though? I don't know. Why are we not talking about that? I honestly do not know.
I think that goes hand in hand with the whole team. The whole team.
Yeah, this is not a good time to isolate any player's performance. You can't argue there's a chance Thomas Tuchel overplayed him, and at one time he burned out and hasn't since rested enough to bounce back, and then show what he's capable of doing. Because truly, Thomas Tuchel overplayed him. At one time, at one point you could sense this guy needs a break, and he kept playing him because Mount, even when he can when he's out of form, he still does a lot of running and still can be effective even without scoring goals or creating chances. In terms from the perspective of him pressing and the amount of running, his industry and commitment on the pitch, Thomas Tuchel overplayed him even until it became obvious that he at one point he was mentally tired. I think that was when he decided he needs a rest. His decision making at that time started showing he needs a break, really. Just having a conversation with people. Where's a statistic person, Rodrigo? Very busy, very, very busy. And I can tell you this in advance. Rodrigo is a Mount's biggest fan. Let me just say that to you. Let's say what we have here. What else do we have? Build the team around a Mount. What's going on? Can you let people have their opinion? And if Boehly plans the team, he will draw lines by classifying players as buy, sell, loan. If a manager plans, he goes about by starting with the structure of the team. I like the second approach. I get it. You've pushed us for us to do it that way. And every time we talk about a player, we do talk about how the manager likes to approach the game. And we don't have to do it how you want us to do it. It's a suggestion, but we've started the way we started, and we have to continue like that. And we also have been considering the manager's approach, the structure, and everything. I don't know if you're paying attention. I'm not sure what to make of your argument again with regards to that. So thank you for mentioning that. Let's see what else. If Mount was from France or Norway, would we really be having this debate? From so many perspectives, you could argue it wouldn't be happening. But let's move on from that, really. Let's see, anything else? I'm going to scroll to the very bottom. Let's start talking about other players. Roger, let's talk about I need a poll with the case of Mount also. Let's talk about what's his name? Zakaria. I don't know if terminate contract is the correct term or just maybe sell doesn't apply because we don't own him.
It would be a
loan
return,
doesn't apply. I think let's just terminate his contract. I don't think it's worked. It hasn't worked, and I don't think he's staying.
It doesn't look like he's going to stay. At one point, it did indeed look like he would be perhaps in the equation of us purchasing him from that loan. I really did. But he's Injury prone, yeah, perhaps. I don't know. But you could say
Yeah,
that
you could
about
say
quite a
that.
lot
That's
of.
yeah. I think that's.
But then look at our whole entire roster. You can say that about quite a few players right now. He's been a little bit unfortunate. And listen, we've had how many managers this year? So that hasn't helped his cause either. In addition to not being match fit when he first came over here. So perhaps he hasn't been given a fair shake. But what I did see of him on the pitch when fit, I really liked, Coach. He brought physicality. He brought a lot of things. But if I think it's, I wouldn't say almost a certainty, but I think it's pretty close to it that his loan would not be either extended or be purchased unless the asking price for him is by today's market very low. Other than that, and it all depends on Poch. He may not fit into what he deems as a prototypical player. So I don't know.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No. I think, let's have a look. What is his age again? I forget. Zakaria, where are you? Midfielder. Zakario here. He is 26 years, 5 months. And so, as I said, that David Webb chap says he likes to work with generally 22 to 24-year-olds, So perhaps he's too old. I don't know. If I had to bet $1, I'd say we do not extend his loan or purchase him. I think he goes back. His contract is terminated. I think that's a fair assessment. It's a shame because I really liked him, but he's surplus to requirements, however you want to term it. He's been a bit unlucky, as I said. But what I did see of him, I liked.
Yeah, a few times he's gotten the opportunity. Just see, please, this is becoming like we're just playing here. If you have an argument, present your argument. I'm not sure what you're saying. And those things you're mentioning, isn't Mount running out of contract? And did anybody here mention his bad season as a reason? Anybody on the panel say his bad season as a reason? Nobody did. You're the one that, just mixing things up to suit your narrative. And honestly, it's becoming irritating, really. If you have an argument, just present it and let people present their own argument. If you're confused, figure it out and let's move on from it, please. It just sounded like you just need to prove that somebody is wrong. I'm not saying I'm correct, and I'm sure Roger isn't saying that. We're all presenting our opinions. Present your counter opinion and let's move on. Let's stop making it back and forth, really.
Coach, I'm always right, no? I'm kidding.
No, it's becoming irritating, really, and I don't understand that sort of argument. Well, I just presented my argument. Present yours. Let's move on from it. If you're confused, figure it out. Yes, Mount is running out of contract, isn't he? Did I mention his bad season, his half? No, we just talked about what I think his issues is, how the manager overused him, and I didn't say that's one of the reasons why he leaves. So stop misquoting me, please. But now, this is becoming irritating, really. Who goes in? Tone Vlahovic, David. David, which of the David you're mentioning? Of those, Lavia, Tonelli, or Tonali, how do you pronounce his name? Alvarez, one of those keeping Cowell. Let's see. I'm going to end the Kovacic poll, 52%, because I want to put up a poll with for Mount's case. 52% say sell. And I'm going to make this clear. This doesn't mean that this is what's going to happen. This is all based on our individual opinions. Nobody knows. We're not there. We're not the manager. We're not the club. We're just analyzing things and making sense of situations and coming to a sensible conclusion. And if you don't feel like any of them is correct, present your argument. Don't just make it a back and forth thing. It start looking like a weak bunch of kids here, really. Which position does Mount play and what is a competition? Starling, Felix, and Kunku, and you are still thinking Mount. That doesn't even make sense to me, unfortunately. I'm not sure what you mean there. Cancelo, Jesus, Zinchenko, Starling were good at City. Pep sold all of them, and look at City, a league club at Chelsea. It's proper Chelsea nonsense and sentiments. Why we almost got relegated. So present your argument. And that's what I want to hear. And Kunku, Havertz, Sterling, Mudryk, Madueke, Felix, Havertz, Gallagher, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, Pulisic, Where do you all rank? Where do you rank Mount amongst those? Okay, Roger, you can answer that one.
Yeah, so don't know enough about Nkuku. They play a different position. Well, actually, yes and no. Havertz. Listen, I would put. I would place Mount above Sterling. Mudryk, different kind of player. Well, Havertz is a very different kind of player. Mudryk, yeah, I get it. Mount is really a number 8, and Mudryk and Sterling and Cuckoo are really number 10, so to speak, wide number 10s, however you want to term it, forwards. But Mount has played there, don't forget, quite a bit. I understand that. He's quite multi-dimensional in that regard. Felix, very different. Felix is very technical and so forth. Doesn't have the energy that Mount does. Havertz, you've mentioned twice there. So we talk about his twin brother. I don't know. Gallagher is basically, I would say, a clone of Mount, but Mount is, I would say, more advanced than him because of his experience. Ruben, I haven't seen Ruben play the number 8 for about 18 years now. So I put Mount above Ruben, but I love Ruben. Pulisic, for a couple of months, he was our best player, but I put Mount above Pulisic. So that's why I rank him. I'd say he's a player that I know he's Marmite. You could build a case for not wanting him or not liking him. I get it. But personally, my honest opinion is we keep him for a multitude of reasons. And I believe he ranks very highly in our team when on form. I don't think you can argue that. Now, do I believe he was the best player of the year last year? No, I don't. I think it was Silva. But I still think he had a great season last year. He does so much for a young player, and I think he hasn't reached his peak. And I'd hate to see him go to Liverpool or United and become the player I believe he can be. That would hurt. That's all I have to say.
For me, I think as much as I don't want Man to leave, but I think he will leave anyway. If he stays, fine.
There's a strong possibility, Coach.
Yeah, if he stays, fine. This is not me saying certainly I'm too sure he's going to leave. I have
no idea, Coach. Yeah, I have no idea.
So now, disclaimer, before somebody starts attacking me, here's one thing I want to say here is this. For this whole players, where do I rank Mount amongst us? For me, we have Ruben Loftus-Cheek, we have we have Pulisic, we have Havertz, we have Felix, we have Madueke, we have Mudryk. For now, I think you could say I would just over Madueke. That's over Madueke and over Gallagher. At this point, I prefer I would take Ruben Loftus-Cheek over Mount anytime, any day. That's me. I would take not Gallagher. I would take Havertz over Mount anytime, any day, because we all see things differently.
Yeah.
We can't. There's no way you. We all see things differently, and now just Madueke because he's not experienced enough, and I'll take Mudryk. Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's unfair to put Mudryk and Madueke in that equation because we've seen such little of them so far.
Yeah, and he asked the question without answer. But even at that, I'll still take Mudryk over Mount.
Would you really?
Honestly, I'm serious. Here's the thing. But I would take Mount over Gallagher. I would take Havertz. I would take Pulisic over Mount. There's something I like in players, and we all see things differently. That is just me.
The only thing that I would about Pulisic is the fact that, how shall I put this? He's easily muscled off the ball, and he doesn't track back enough. That's my opinion. He has deficiencies, but when he did play at his highest, when he was at his peak, he was an outstanding player. But it was too small of a sampling size. Where Mount has proven that over a more longer period of time. That's my argument. That's all I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm. I guess people wanted to keep everyone on the club. You can't keep everyone. And here's the argument that I made. We can come back and look at it, say we have too many players, and then we cut it down. It does make sense, but I get it. Let's see what we have here. I need Tosin, Ziyech, and Kepa on the sub category. Yeah, it's easy to do
Objection.
that. There's no arguments for those. You could argue that, Shamira. Thank you for saying that. And Contender FC says, yeah, coach, I think it's best that you select the formation and then select the 2 players per role. So in a 4-2, we know predominantly it's going to be 4-2-3-1. You have an AM in that. Okay, AM, you know Nkunku is starting. So who is the second player? Thank you for explaining. I think maybe we should do that. I think maybe we should do that. Yeah, but let's continue for a bit. We'll find a solution to that. So let's see the cover argument. Let's see what it has ended. Okay, what do you this one says? What do you think Chelsea would do with Mount? 56% thinks the club will keep him, and 44% thinks the club will sell him. But let's see. Let's give them time a bit. Let's talk about Roger Gallagher. I'm not sure what's going to happen while we wait for the Mount vote. Here's the thing, like you've explained, I don't know if you used the term free money because there are no taxes, right? Was that the argument? Correct me if I'm wrong.
What do you mean, no money? No
If
taxes?
the club sells Gallagher, everything goes into the club's
Oh, yeah,
pocket.
well, yeah. For instance, people that have come from the academy, well, we didn't pay, other than obviously tutorial fees and so forth like that, we didn't purchase him from anywhere else. So therefore, it's pure net profit from the accounting perspective. So for
this suggestion from Contender FC here, I know we agree for Ian Matson to come back, the club would have to sell one of Kukurea or Benchua. So maybe if we bring Matson out now, then we have to agree, again, work with those in the chat to say, okay, out of the 2 left backs, if in fact the club, if they're looking to sell one of them, the rumors suggest they're looking to sell, to even use Kukurea to try to get, was it Felix or who? Kukurea and one other player,
Felix.
Osimhen also. So let's have just 2 left back there to avoid too much confusion. Then we'll come back to it and decide if we're saying that Ian Matson stays, then who makes way? Maybe we should find who makes way between Kukurea and, you could say, Kukurea and Benchua. You could say I added it there because in my opinion, I think she's going to stay. So maybe we'll now have to use the vote. And we're working with 4-2-3-1. Let's stick with that. And I think at one point we have to start showing the formation and plugging in players and say, okay, we need one more of this player there. It will make it easier to understand. But thank you for kind of putting it in a way that it doesn't look like you're saying that every other thing we've done is nonsense. We have to do it that way. I appreciate that. Go ahead, Roger. You were saying something.
Yeah, let me ask you one question, if I may, sir. Do you think, based on our current squad, do you think a 4-2-3? I know you're a huge fan of it, but do you think our squad is more suitable for a back 4 or a back 3, in your opinion?
More suitable for a back 4.
Okay.
Because with a back 3, the wing backs wing back rows becomes redundant.
Got it.
And when we have too many wingers, for instance, Nani Madueke is a winger, Mudryk is a winger, and them others too, but we're not sure whether they're staying or leaving at this point. So we're more suitable for a back 4-2-3-1 specifically, which also accommodates a 10, or you could say a central attacking midfielder. I with Nkunku coming, I think more of a back 4, not a back 3. Back 3 creates more problem. Back 3 is a situation where we have wingers playing in the wing back role or playing as inverted forwards and all that.
Yeah, I think that's why people like Winstanley and Vavell wanted him, because their philosophy matched the squad. I think that's a major part of the equation.
Sorry, can you say that again?
I think knowing that he likes to play with a 4-2-3-1, knowing that our squad is more adept to that, I think that was a major part of wanting to hire Poch. I think that's why Vivell and Winstanley, etc., came to that conclusion of why he's a good fit. I think based on the current squad also, and the very young acquisitions that we've made, I think that was a major part. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I think, let's see. And let's see what happens. What else do we have here? What a waffle from Roger there. There aren't the reasons to keep Mount. Those excuses to keep Mount. You obviously like him, but be a little objective. I think for me, reasons is provided are legitimate reasons. For me, I still think Mount is more likely to leave Chelsea than stay. That's
So
how I see
listen,
it.
Shamir,
Yeah.
I'm not taking it personal at all, but I think everyone could build a case to keep or to sell every single player on our roster in virtually every team. You can do that because there's no such perfect player. There just isn't. So you can interpret that. Listen, I know he's Marmite, but I'm just being objective. Does he have flaws? I'm talking about Mount. Yes, of course he does. But you can say that about every player. You know, with the one exception, that being Kante being my favourite player for obvious reasons, I really don't have an opinion as to whether I love the player or I can't stand him. You know, yeah, maybe J5 because of his. Well, it's a bit unfortunate because of his lack of physicality, etc. And Sterling to a certain extent. But I even give him accolades when he plays well. I try to be objective, and so it's not. I'm not reinforcing my opinion by saying these things. I'm actually stating what I honestly believe is objectively an opinion. That's all. So that's great. And he does it in caps. I love it. That's funny.
And I'm still asking the question. He's a mod on what's his name on my friend's channel, Johnny's channel. I'm still asking the question: how is he able to survive there? Maybe he doesn't speak much against Mount if he's there, because he would have blocked him by now.
Oh, God,
I think Chilwell will be easier to move, but I prefer Kukurea to go. Here's the thing: if we're being honest, our preference doesn't really matter. Both of them, Chilwell just extended, and we just signed. Not even is it up to a year that we signed Kukurea, which and I think he's on a salary probably our buying club may well not be able to afford. So we're not sure what's going to happen. Except if Man City comes back for him and see if they can get him for cheap for us, which wouldn't make any sort of sense to buy him at a very high price and sell him at a loss of for about 10 million or so. It doesn't make any sense. That's why I find it very difficult to believe Chelsea are going to be looking to sell him, except if he is factored into a deal regarding one of those players we want to buy. And for me, in my opinion, disclaimer before anybody throws a punch at me, I think he's a good player. Do I think we overpaid for him? I would say yes, if that makes sense. Let's see what we have here. Pulisic can be back if he decides to stay. I am sure Boehly wants to keep him. From a business perspective, maybe. But given everything we've heard, it doesn't sound like it. The rumors are we were actually willing to sell him in January, but he was injured because you can't sell an injured player. Rumors are also we're trying to factor him into one deal or the other. Where will Mount play at Liverpool? What question? Hendo leaving soon. Milner and Oxlade-Chamberlain all already out. Mount is better than Jones, in my opinion. I like that disclaimer, in my opinion. And that doesn't mean we should condemn any person's opinion. If you hear an opinion,
Coach, if you think Chelsea's midfield is weak compared to Real Madrid's, which is what I stated, then wow, we are Real Madrid compared to Liverpool's midfield, based on the fact that they have a very aging midfield and they're depleted now, and they're going to be even more so depleted come summertime. So he will definitely be in midfield. He'll play a number 8, and he will excel under Klopp. He will excel for sure.
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Barca and Madrid are a place to shop when looking for a top midfielder. Prime Kova was balling for us. I think Kova is one player because at one point we overused him. Keep Kova, sell Mount. That's why this is opinion. And if you're all allowed to express your opinion, but it's not okay to attack people's opinion and make them, you just sounding like you indirectly saying they're stupid to think one way or the other. I don't think that's okay, really.
Unless it's Glenn. Let's be honest, unless it's Glenn's opinion. I'm kidding.
No, but you
I'm
get what I'm
kidding.
saying.
Yeah.
Out Kepa, Ziyech, Havertz. If offer comes in, Kukurea, Kuku on loan, Gallagher loan. If we start loaning Kuku, I think his value would depreciate by the time we want to sell him.
Oh God.
I think if we want to sell him, just sell him immediately. But we're not sure what's going to happen. Everything we're doing now is driven by our individual opinions. Nobody knows what's going to happen, but we'll try to be as sensible as possible by looking at the person's contract length, considering whether how much they have left on their contract, considering their form and everything, and how we believe the new manager approaches the game. It's as simple as that. Striker, not to Osimhen. Who? Okay. Go ahead. You were saying something,
Yeah.
Roger.
Listen, I just want to say something about two people, Poch and Cucurella as an example. Cucurella, I've been disappointed with him based on the fact that he was Brighton's Player of the Year last year, and obviously the price tag with which he came with, which has nothing to do with him personally. I understand that. However, my expectations were heightened because of this. He hasn't reached what I expected from him. However, I wouldn't be surprised if he excels tremendously, becomes the player I thought he would be under Poch. I believe Poch can turn this player around. For using him as an example, does that make sense? So
yeah,
that's what
I do agree with you.
Yeah.
I do agree with you. Ryan Winter says everyone is picking players on ability, skill. What we need is a Terry Durber personality type that carries, lifts the players around them. Leadership all around the pitch. That's what we need. Which players do that for? One of them, you could argue, who was that player we spoke about? I like Emiliano Martinez, his attitude, or you could say, I like him. I think it's one of those like it. Yeah.
Are you talking about that played last night for Inter?
Onana? No,
I'm talking about the captain.
Who's that?
Inter's captain last night that scored the third goal.
I didn't watch the game fully.
Coach, drop down, give me 20.
I'm not sure. You're roasting my brain right now. I won't lose any sleep if Mason Mount leave this summer.
Yeah,
a lot of people won't. But look at the poll. Is it you're not shocked? So you don't just assume. Here's the thing. One thing I've learned in my life is not to assume that many people want something to be like this without any proof. And with 26 votes, you could say it's safe to say not majority of the fans actually want Mason Mount to leave because 58% says the club will keep him, what they think the club would do, and 42%. But even though I still think it's opinion driven, that's how I think. But let's see what we have. Look at Real Madrid of future, Camavinga and all that. They're well loaded, and we should be like that. Big up Johnny Minoras, your friend. Big up to you too. Let's see what else we have here. Proof is important in everything you argue. Without proof, it's still all opinion driven. And I don't think, given that, I don't think we should just, I don't know. If you have a counter argument, present it. Don't just sounding like you know better than the person, or just present your counter argument and let them know this is why you think this is wrong. Poch will bring out the best in these players and will turn the team around quickly. Not in any way. European Cup competition is a blessing. A European Cup competition is a blessing in disguise. I must say that. A time to blame and rest a player as well. You can argue not too many traveling. There's no proof Liverpool does not want Mount. There's no way to tell. Well, people just speculate, and it's as simple as that. It says, Coach, have you rigged the poll? I did not. 29 votes, and I think it's actually 59% thinks the club will keep Mount. I understand it has been a difficult season for Mount, but the entire team has been, what you said. Mount is a very good player, and I agree with you. I have other arguments when it comes to Mount. The reason I think is more likely to leave is the fact they've been speaking for 1,000 years right now and still hasn't come to an agreement. That's not okay. And the more his contract winds down, the more difficult it will be for the club to get him to agree to their terms. Because the more the contract winds down, the more he realizes he leaves as a free agent and gets a sign-on fee to wherever he joined. And given how good I believe he is and the sort of player he is, he gets more money. To be honest, I don't get why. I like the spelling there. He doesn't understand why we bite Kukurea. Any player that wants to leave should be sold. A lot of people, we cannot afford bad blood. I will sell Kuku, but nothing to say he wants to leave. The only player we've heard, which is speculations, I have to accept. Even when JC mentioned that, I said, okay, you win. That's not me. I haven't said certainly. I think Kovacic's leave. I said most likely he will leave, given the situation. That doesn't mean he can. There's a chance he stays. I will say Kuku and keep Chilwell for his experience. Chilwell does not have to play all games. Wow. Martinez, yeah, I love Martinez. I like his attitude, but I still have to pay attention to his ball distribution to know how good he is. With that, what's the news on Mane? Last I heard, it was close. It turns out, I think there's a chance it's absolute nonsense. We don't know. So that's why everything is pure speculation until it happens. It's not logical. You're having a conversation there. So, Roger, what player? I don't think we're going this in any order. We're just probably picking the easier ones. Because this it's not that simple. But go ahead.
Let's go ahead and choose the players that we believe are going to be sold regardless. I think Ziyech is a slam dunk. Listen, I think right now, as we stand, when Poch comes in, I think there's a strong possibility that he's open-minded to keeping anyone. And I'm sure he's made up his mind on certain players that he wants to leave anyway, based on his, shall we say, homework. Him and his team, not just him alone. You know, he works with a team, and he's done so since his Southampton days, according to David Webb. So people like Ziyech, I think, is a safe assumption that he goes. I still believe Kova is a rotational player. I don't think he'll be leaving this transfer window, but one never knows. But Ziyech, for instance, I think is that. I think Pulisic, is a stronger possibility of him leaving this transfer window than most other people. So if you want to, I can't see the players' faces because of the comments that you have on the screen. So is there any way that we could have a look at the players, because you have the people that write in? I can't see the players' pictures. I don't know if you're able to rearrange the screen, but
you want to see the players we have there? Okay. Matson, let's leave him. We have to decide who we think the club sells between Kukurea and Ben Chilwell, and then decide.
Yeah.
You know, it's not that simple actually. Okay, here are the players we have there. We can talk about Gallagher. We haven't done it until maybe we need a vote to figure out the case of Gallagher.
Who do you think's the strongest? Let's disregard the goalkeepers right now. Well, I think Mendy is a strong possibility. We're selling him. I really do. I think.
Yeah, given his contract situation too. Yeah. Next thing I will see JC attacking me in the chat for using his contract situation as an argument.
Is that Zakaria?
No, that's what's his name? He's on loan at Monaco. The left centre back guy.
Saul. Sorry, Saul.
Malangsar, yeah. What did Vic do that? What did Vic do here that Nightbot is deleting his message? Vic, please avoid using more than 3 emojis.
Aubameyang, I think, is going to be the sold or contract.
Where is he actually? I think you can say he's sold himself. Actually, I don't think will he. I think will he be a free agent by then? In the summer, I don't think he will be a free agent.
I couldn't. No, I don't know. I couldn't say.
Let me check the length of his contract. But Roger, can you talk about Callum Hudson-Odoi? What do you think happens? I will use a vote. So a lot of people think Mount stays. So let's move Mount to keep. I don't know. I'm just gonna say keep him as a rotational player because that's the
Squad,
the
rotational.
role we're using. Yeah, the role we're using it for. Rotational players. That I think he at least that's what he is. But go ahead, Callum Hudson. Let's have that conversation.
Wow, coach, I'm so saddened for him. He's had a really tough time since his injury, hasn't he? He's really been unfortunate, and he has such a high ceiling. Didn't Bayern offer 70 million for him at one point? You
And we
know,
refused because he was that good at the point.
yeah, exactly.
That was under Sarri.
Yeah, was it really? Wow, that long ago. How time
Hmm.
flies. And how old is he now? He's what, 23?
I think it's at most 23.
Yeah, he's a fetus still. And yet you think of him as 27, 28. Isn't that amazing? I think is he fit now, or is he, I don't know what his status is. I know he's been out of form, and I think he's had quite a few knocks this season. I because of the depth
He's been awful on loan, really.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I think it doesn't bode well for him. I think there's a strong possibility we sell him, and it's probably going to be how long is left on his contract. Please don't tell me 1 year. I'm going to scream if you say that.
No, it should be around that.
Are you serious? Are you
Yeah.
serious?
It should be because he didn't extend before he left to Bayer Leverkusen for his
Actually,
loan.
I think that's right. Yeah. So I think there's a strong possibility we'll sell him for peanuts, which is shocking when we had an offer of 70 million. But I still think if he can stay healthy, he will reach his potential. But with whom? That's the question. I don't think he's on our roster.
I don't think he actually has up to a year, but let me see. Okay, this is his loan spell when he expires. I'm coming. Chelsea. Okay, you can say about 1 year. June 2024, his Chelsea contract.
Yeah. So unless they extend it, he wants to extend it, and I don't think, looking at the depth chart, coach, he's got an uphill battle. I say he's gone. I think I don't know.
At one point, I was thinking, given the fact that he's too young, they may well consider
It's a
to
shame,
keep him. But there are so many factors. He's been awful. I have to be honest. As much as I think, I would say let's send him on loan somewhere else. But with 1 year left on his contract, plus how much he earns monthly, his weekly salary, I've forgotten how much it is, but he's one of the top end earners, even at a very young age. I think the club may well move him on. His salary is an issue.
I think in my opinion, it's like a 90% done deal that he sells.
Yeah,
he's being told.
And do you think he'd consider? Taking a pay cut to remain at the club and extend? Do you think he'd do that?
Probably not.
He wouldn't, right?
Probably not.
But if he doesn't see a way out, if he doesn't see a clear way out, where he'd go and earn something sizable and still be playing, he may well try to see if he can stay, or even if it means send him out on loan. But I think, for me, in my opinion, as much as usually I don't easily say a player is done, especially a player at this age. I think he's done for Chelsea. Maybe let me just phrase it like that.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't make sense trying to keep him.
Yeah, Bobby, you there, or is he not in this?
No, Bobby has gone for a while now.
So I think he's definitely going to be sold. Lukaku, I think, goes out on loan. I really do. I don't believe he fits the criteria of Poch. I think there's a strong possibility.
I think we need the whole day.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not gonna jump to conclusion with regards to the case of Romelu Lukaku.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Connie Chukwuemeka. The rumors are that he goes out on loan already. I think I'm going to use the vote to find out what happens there. What we're going to do tomorrow? What we're going to do? What we're going to do tomorrow? We're going to start picking players who selected there and start building the lineup at the same time. Just as Briani suggested. Roger, just quickly, let me see what those are in the chat are saying.
Of course.
Coach, I have that feeling again when we won the Champions League back in 2021. I think Chelsea will win the league next season. The young players look hungry, and Poch will cook for them. I hope it happens. As much as I know, it's not going to be that simple. But good luck to us. Let's see. It looks like they're having a go at each other there in the chat. Okay, just take it easy. Let's see what else we have. It says, Coach, you tied Jesse off the chat. Nope, I did not. He's a mod, and I think he's actually a managing mod. Probably he didn't like my response to what he said, but that's his business. I didn't time it. Did anybody say anybody timed it? I didn't time it out. Jesse is the type of person you have to agree to what he's saying, or you're going to be going back and forth.
Bobby?
And that's the only thing I wanted us to stop the back and forth. So maybe he didn't like that, but if that's the case, that's up to him. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Oh, you can hear me. That's because I'm
Yeah, I can hear you. It's a bit noisy because it looks like you're driving.
Okay, yeah, I am. Let me find out my window. Coach, the expectations of these fans is just remarkable.
Yeah.
Pochettino this will be his first season. You know, if he's the one to take the job, which we still don't know yet. This will be his first season, and people are talking about winning the league already. I mean, come on, guys. I mean, look at how Man City are getting more and more established. They will have the same coach. The addition they'll make will be minor. Same with Arsenal. Same with Newcastle now, just that little bit further down. Man United, okay, teetering a bit, but much further than we are down the road with the same coach. Liverpool, I mean, come on. Why are they saying this? How can you expect it? I mean, it'd be wonderful if he does, and it's possible, but I wouldn't put it as a expectation, not at all. I'm looking at top four, you know. If we can even do that, the only reason we have that as a demand is because we are Chelsea, and there are implications, especially financially. So we need to target that. But apart from that, I will be very lenient on him, especially with the young players and everything. Don't you think?
Lenient on who?
Pochettino.
Oh, no, you don't expect too much. That's how I advise people. But we have the chance to actually do better than a lot of people expect us to do. But I'm not going to go to the extent of saying, I think we can do this, do the other. I just think we'll do well. That's how I want to leave it at that.
I'm going to be very disappointed if we don't win the Champions League next season. I'm going to blame it on Poch, even if we're not in it. Sorry. I'm joking.
That's what happens when your brother is your agent. Salcho, I'm afraid. I think he was the one that pushed.
Now Poch is QC, so be careful.
Yeah, I know.
Pochettino's lawyer. That's his retainership, so...
Yeah, I agree with you. That's his job. I think in the case of Cho, I think he was the one that pushed to leave, and I think his case doesn't differ much from that of the case of Billy Gilmore. You could see at one point, you could actually Thomas Tuchel. He trusted Callum Hudson-Odoi. He gives him game time. But he was maybe Callum felt like he's outgrown the way he's treated him, like, you know, bringing him on and hauling him off in about 15 minutes, taking him off in about 15 minutes or so. I think it's tough love, and it would have worked had he stayed, because he started to start him in high-profile games, even though he starts him in the wing-back position, but that's with an attacking intent, and which you know, Ruben Loftus-Cheek enjoyed, and he became the one that started playing that role for Thomas Tuchel the moment Callum left. I think it was for him to have left. It was a huge mistake. But see where he is today. Unfortunately, I think the club are going to end up selling him. I'd be shocked if he stayed. And I'm going to say something quickly with regards to my argument that Mount. I think he ends up leaving. If Mount stays, if the club don't sell him, I'll do a $50 giveaway. Just remember, I said that. That's how much I trust my argument that he's most likely to leave than stay. What else do we have? Some of us were told to trust the process and structure. Here we are. Please keep your Mount Gallagher, Kovacic, and Ampadu. We will be back here with the same problem. Yes, people, keep dropping the likes on the screen. We have 120 likes. Let's get the likes up. Let me see what else I want to get in the chat here. Too many comments. Unfortunately, I can't get everybody's comment. Coach, I suggested Martinez before a long time. I wanted Martinez under Thomas Tuchel because you could say he's perfect type of striker. Though I dislike what he did to Mbappe after World Cup, but I love his job at Aston Villa. Who? Martinez? Which of the Martinezes? Okay. Oh, he's talking about Emiliano Martinez. I was thinking you was talking about Lautaro Martinez. He did a lot to improve himself. I like his work ethic. I like, the crap housery, or whatever way you want to phrase it. I think I like. I like to see him at Chelsea. Let's see what we have here. I like to hear a top four panelist. A top four panelist. More fitting of the club. I'm not sure. What do you mean? Can you elaborate? I like to hear. Roger, do you understand that comment there?
I like to hear a top four panelist more fitting of the club. In other words, we're not top four.
What crap.
We're mid-table at best.
Yeah, that's fine. At least we're not relegated.
I don't know, Coach.
Bobby,
I don't know.
Yeah, Bobby is talking about expectations of fans, and he will be the first to cry when Chelsea loses games. I find it difficult to understand him. In your opinion,
can I respond?
Do you really have to? But go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, listen. Everybody knows I'm Chelsea. I bleed Chelsea. If we lose, I'm gonna cry. That's what I do. So, but that doesn't take away the reality of my mind in every situation. And I don't think it's fair for us to have an expectation on a manager that's coming in with a young squad for his first season. I think it's very unfair to say that we expect to win the Premier League. That's pressure, unnecessary pressure.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Yeah, well, let's see what happens. Roger, disclaimer. The disclaimer is important. We all have entitled to our opinions. Roger, I don't know. What was it? Did you say? Have you said something already with regards to the future of Carney Chukwuemeka?
No, I haven't. I don't want him going out on loan. Period. What I've seen of him, he's good enough to play for our team at the very least as a rotational player. I think that would be counterproductive putting him out on loan. He's really good. We haven't hardly seen anything of him this year. However, what I saw of him playing for Villa, I think he's Premier League material, quality material. I think because of his age, his ceiling is huge. His attributes are astounding. I think he definitely is more than adequate to be a rotational player, in my opinion. He's raw, yes, no doubt about it. Don't get me wrong, but you can polish that diamond.
And I think Carney Chukwuemeka goes out on loan.
No.
Look, we're talking about this. Let's look at the Pochettino playing predominantly with a 4-2-3-1 structure. Two wingers, 110. We have Noni Madueke, you can say it right now, clearly ahead of him in the pecking order. And Chukwuemeka isn't actually, you could say, I wouldn't say he's a winger. If anything, in a situation where we play with a 3 at the back, I'll put him play with 2 8s. He gets a chance as one of the 2 8s. And I'm not too sure with his ability playing from deep as one of the 2 6s in situations where we play with 2 6s. I think Carney will most likely leave on loan. That's my opinion. Let me add that disclaimer there.
No. I understand. I think that's a possibility also, but I don't think. Well, I mean, actually, if he goes to a Premier League side like a Palace, for instance, or a Villa, well, not Villa, I'm sure not, but I think he would excel. It may, in fact, even be beneficial to his selling price. If we want to sell him, I think he will excel. I think you'll see his natural ability in many aspects, but and probably selfishly, I want him to stay because listen, you need depth, you really do, and we've seen that this year.
But given he hasn't played that much, I don't think he's ready to provide that sort of depth you're looking for.
Yeah, he's hardly played at all. Let's be honest here. But what I have seen of him playing for Villa and then very little for Chelsea, I've been very pleased with him. But double fudge with cherry on top. I don't want to see him out on loan, but it's probably better for him also as an individual to progress, to hone his skills. But I don't. If he does go out on loan, I don't want him going overseas because I want him to actually excel in this league, this particular league, because that's where Chelsea play in. That's why.
Yeah, I think he more likely will go out on loan. And I think it will be good for him because if he stays, I'm not sure. We paid around 16 million pounds plus for him. I'm not sure if he comes. Plus, most likely the club, from everything we're hearing, it's looking like the club. They're looking at to keep.
Now we paid 20, coach.
Yeah,
we paid
around 20.
million.
And how much do we pay for Santos?
Santos. Hold on, let me look up Santos.
Yeah. So Santos is coming back, but from everything we're hearing, it just sounds as if the club were, they value Santos more than Carney. I'm not sure if that changes. I'd be shocked if he stays. You could say I don't read too much into the fact that how much?
No, actually, I was going to ask you where does Santos fit in? By the way,
I think somewhere in the midfield. I don't know if it is deep line, but most likely deep line.
No, I mean, does he go out on loan or do we have him?
We'll still talk about him. We'll still take our time to look at it. It's not that simple. The fact we're looking to bring in new midfielder, sign a DM. I'm not saying he's traditionally a DM. He's more of a box-to-box player than a DM. But that's still signing a new player, which means space will be rare for him.
Yes.
You get my point.
Yeah, no, here's my opinion. We're very front heavy. Well, we're heavy everywhere. We have a huge squad, coach. This squad it's not. I don't know. It's just too big. That's what she said. But it is. It's a very large squad. Hence the exercise. I get it. It's pick your poison, isn't it? In so many ways. But I believe he's Chelsea material. I really do. However, you're right though. I don't know. I just if he goes out on loan and it's not to a Premier League club, I'll be disappointed.
Yeah, Kachila and Spaniel are relegation panelists, and you. Should I say? And you're already a relegated participant. Go away. Carney should go to Boehly on loan. I think you could say. Maybe we don't know, but there's no guarantee he gets a starting place. I think that's why this loan players living on loan. I don't know how that really works. I don't know whether you get to ask the club that wants to play on loan to guarantee that he gets to start. I'm not sure what's going to happen, but he's a talent and still very young. Maybe I think, and a loan would do him a world of good. Really, I believe we will loan Carney to Premier League team. I think that's what I think is going to happen. You cannot lower your expectations and cry when we lose. You cannot have your cake and eat it. I think that's a solid argument too. But I don't like you for insulting the panelists here. I don't like you at all. 19 million for Santos, I think. So I wouldn't say use how much we paid
Santos.
for.
Okay, Santos. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I wouldn't. So it wouldn't make sense. So the price tag for both, you could say. Pretty much close. So it wouldn't make sense to use the price tag for any of them to try to conclude which of them we think the club will value or would like to keep. I'm not too sure what's going to happen. Trust me, this Santos kid is the real deal. A great partner for Enzo in the future. The question is what's going to happen. Do you think he'd come and join us? And we have to also recognize that he doesn't have a work permit at this point. It does not make sense to expect a trophy next season. Let's focus on top six in the Premier League. Wow. Okay. You slug it out with Chelsea all the way. Question last next season, if you had to choose between the two, would you start Silva or Fofana? Fofana is our future, in my opinion. Here's the thing. If you take away Fofana and take away Koulibaly, then you'd have, if you take away Silva and take away Koulibaly, then you'd have Trevor Chalobah. That is if he stays. There's a recent rumor today, actually a few hours ago, saying that the club will most likely sell him in the summer. But that doesn't make sense for me yet. If that happens, which means we'll be looking to sign a new defender. So if you take away Silva and take away Koulibaly, we would have a bunch of. You could average it should be at most 21. You need,
Coach,
yeah.
you've got basically Fofana 22. You've got Chalobah 23 and 10 months. You've got Badiashile 22 1 month.
So
You're looking Badiashile. How old is Colwell?
20, about 19, 20.
Yeah, so you're looking at an average age of about 21 and a half to 22 for 4.
And that's not okay.
That's a That's.
I wanted to answer that question about Silva, if I may, if I can.
Go for it.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is why a lot of our discussion, until Poch gets here, it might be a miss, because if we are to believe that his training methods is focused a lot on conditioning, which I think the squad needs, this team is going to be whipped into condition over the preseason, which is very important. And I think that will reduce injuries as well, because if you're fit, you're less likely to pull up with all these silly injuries. Unless it's an impact injury, then there's not much you can do about that.
Sure.
And that's where you will find, that's why Pochettino likes to work with players that are of the age range of about, say, 20 to 26. Probably more less than 20 than above 26. And that's where you will find that the likes of Silva next season will really have less and less appearances, because I can't see him with this high press and constant running be able to keep up with that. You know, the last time I said something negative about Thiago Silva, he came and started ripping up trees. So maybe this is something that's going to get him to be that that type of defender. I don't know. But, you know, it's going to be a young man's game next season. So
it's so true.
I can see people like Koulibaly and Silva having sort of coming on, off the bench and that sort of thing.
Or maybe rotating just to have a senior player on the pitch to lead the back line. One of them starting like we saw on the ground, but then he walked. Silva, he walked it to
sure.
Well, gentlemen, if statistics are anything to go by, Bobby, just very briefly, you're going to see Chelsea is in the top 2 per game in coverage per kilometre per game. So you're right, Bobby.
Yeah, which I wouldn't mind, to be honest, because those guys aren't really that fit at the moment. So
no, they're not.
You're right. Those two will be rotated. And these people coming out, I heard Matt Law talk about it, Chalobah for sale. And I don't see the sense in that at all. We're looking to save money so that we can meet up with FFP. Oh, yes, that encourages sales, but that doesn't encourage silly sales. You don't sell like we used to during the Marina days, only to go and buy less quality and a player that you don't know can fit into the team. I don't know if Pochettino will be happy with that, to be honest, and I think Chalobah stays, personally. He's not in the bracket of player we're going to offload at all. I don't want to even put a disclaimer on this one. I'm pretty certain of it.
I'll be shocked, Bobby.
Here's the thing. With the case of Cardi Chukwuemeka, I think that's in my opinion, please, before anybody shoots me. And I think that's what's going to be better for him. The better option for him would be to go out on loan. I don't see how he gets enough game time to continue developing properly if he remains at Chelsea.
Yeah, that's the issue, coach.
Yeah. So, and being selfish to keep him for the sake of squad depth doesn't help. We will just end up ruining him. I think we can find clubs that are willing to take him out on loan and see him, mature properly. You could say start maturing properly. But that's, by the way, I'm going to explain. Here's what we're going to do right now. I'm going to drag
just not Norwich, please.
Yeah, not Norwich City. The bad experience there. I'm going to keep him on loan role. Here's what I'm going to explain again the way we've started, and we're going to finish it like that. No need trying to go back. When we analyze every player, we analyze the manager's preferred structure, 4-2-3-1 predominantly. that doesn't mean he's not going to switch things up. But we have lots of wingers right now. Even though if you think two of them will go, we still have wingers, traditional wingers that will be better utilized if they play in that traditional wing position, left wing, right wing, and not play them in the as inverted forwards or play them as wing backs just because we have to accommodate them. I think predominantly it's going to be a 4-2-3-1. We consider all those things. We consider contract. We consider player form. We consider everything before deciding whether a player. But even at that, sometimes we just have to go to those in the chat to vote. What we're going to do, if we get to a point where it still looks like we have too many players, that makes it even more fun. Then we'll look at it and say, okay, who makes way to reduce the numbers? And once we're done, we'll go into building the 23-24 best 11. That's how we plan to approach it. And we get it. All the concerns of, first of all, prioritizing the structure that the manager plays, we've done that. Go watch the first video. We did talk about that. We know that, and the description says we'll consider the manager's approach, consider the player's form, contract, and everything before deciding. The description explains that too, and we've been doing that. So we don't have to change it now. It's a bit too late to change it to. How are we going to do it? Do we have to write the formation somewhere? We know the formation. We're working with it, so I don't think it makes any difference. But I agree with Brianna Raha. You suggested just going 2 players per position, and in this case, I think what we've done, except for the defensive area, we have how many CBs here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 CVs, which is fine to have 5 CVs there. It's not like the fullbacks where you say let's keep it at most 2, and we had to drop out what's his name, Ian Martin, until we decide which of Kukurea. We find out which of Kukurea and or Benchua who leaves. Then there's space. There will be space for Ian Martin. But I can assure you, lots of Chelsea fans feel like he should come back, and one of the other guys should leave. That's how I see it. And I want to say thank you. We will continue tomorrow. And I think what we have to do tomorrow is to focus strictly on the tier list exercise. And I still stand by my comment. I'm still going to go ahead and end the membership thing for the coming month. I still haven't done my research on how I can stop it, but I think it's more difficult if you have somebody join new. I really do want to end it, maybe start it later, and start it when I'm sure I'm ready to fulfill the obligation of, giving them some, what they're supposed to be getting as members who spend money every month. But right now I have to end it. I can still continue doing the Stay in School project, sponsored by myself. But thank you to everyone who's a member. I know you all mean well, but for personal reasons, something I've sensed, I really do want to stop that. It's like we are building a squad for a 25-year-old younger party. Yeah, I think it's a risk. We need experience. Let's see. It's not guaranteed Mecca will get game time on loan. He can be polished by Poch, but if it is guaranteed game time on loan, I think the best thing would be for him to leave on loan. And where does he fit? There's nobody you ask that can come out and say, except AD Love for Blue, that can say clearly, this is where I think Chukwuemeka fits. Are you going to watch Real versus City or no? Let me check. If 12 p.m. my time, let me check.
Is the Pope Catholic?
I'm going to watch it. I think what he's asking if we're going to do a watch along on the other channel. Honestly,
I know it's somewhat disrespectful to write off Milan in the final, but I honestly believe tonight is basically the final.
Whoever wins today will go ahead and win it.
That's not a guarantee because we've seen it happen before where that's not been the case. But just based on the quality of the teams, I think it's a safe assumption. I think it's going to be the best game of the season. Just the quality all over the pitch is outstanding.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. Sorry, Roger, if I cut you off.
No, not at all. Carry on, sir. Sorry.
All right. Thank you so much, people. It's been an excellent show. The discussion, the debates. For those of you who presented your argument respectively and not, sound like the other person is talking nonsense because they're not agreeing to what you're saying or because they're not doing what you want. Rahayu, okay, let me say, yes, we're going to do a watch along on Soccer Perspective. That will help keep that channel busy. To start at 12 p.m. my time, I think I can. Come on, Madrid. I think Man City will overpower them today. But let's see what happens. Thank you so much, guys. It's been excellent. Like I said, we'll focus strictly on the tier exercise tomorrow. And a big up to you too, Vic, for joining us today. With that, I want to say thank you to Brianna Rahayu. Thank you so much, brother. I appreciate you joining. I appreciate all the respective contributions in the chat. And bro, Chimera, big up to you. Big up to Contender CFC. I've said hello to you. A lot of people, Marcelo, big up. Glenn, big up. And Kishan, big up. Thank you so much. God bless us all. See you guys next time. And bye.
Thanks, Coach.
More thanks to you, brother.
Cheers.